There's our first look at Summoner's Rift for the day. Buckle up, folks. JDG versus Weibo coming right at you. There's Shun on that option. There's Weibo with the earlier spike. Kind of wondered about that one, not gonna lie. Did seem like a possibility. Scout just doing a little bit of early control over the wave best he can. Again, you are an Orianna. Very able to get a hold of that one. Should be a YouTube stream, Mango Meow. I'll double check. A little bit delayed getting things rolling there. JDG with a very significant percentage for vote there. Unusual that, actually, to see such a swing one way or the other, but I think Weibo are just so inconsistent, it's very difficult to know one way or another. Well, that's going to happen. Bit of a chunk there from Scout and Xiaohu. I was looking at this mid lane match quite heavily. In fairness, Scout and Xiaohu is one of the most decorated and successful pair of mid laners the LPL has ever known. Incredibly talented, both of them. Not had the best year or two in some ways. For all, of course, that Weibo have made kind of wild worlds runs out of nowhere. I don't think anyone would lie to you and say this has been Xiaohu's golden era or anything. Xiaoshu, of course, has been JDG's shining light, really. This split has been really, really good. On things like the Cassante. The Rumble, of course, very, very scary. 4 and 5 might not look all that good, but you got to remember JDG had a pretty mixed split in general. And sometimes that is the way of it. Tien, Shun, just having a look at that Scuttle Crab. Shun's going to say, yeah, it's not going to happen. Going to force a flash out of Xiaohu instead. Just wandering through mid lane. Take that topside Scuttle Crab. We get a ward over the wall there. Doesn't want to spend too much time out on his clear, and that'll be just fine. Flash off the Annie is a big one. Much more gankable now, and of course, won't have it up likely for level 6, which is a big spike for Annie. She wants to go looking for the Flash Bear. Stun. Shout out to Trevor wherever he is. Fairly even draft, though Weibo Gaming has that pick and burst draft, according to you think, aren't we? We might have to wait on that one second. The Xiaoshu will footwork flash to get out of safety. Nicely done. Yeah, I think that's fair. Because again, they've got more for the pick and burst, right? Because they've got the Annie and the Leona with Corki, Wukong to blow someone out. They probably will end up in a position later on in the game where their damage gets a little bit more dicey because they are quite upfront and the consistent damage is really a Corki. Compare that to a Yunara, compare that to an Orianna. Hell, even compare that to something like a Cassante sometimes as well, for all that Sion is a higher damage tank. A lot of value from those. So hang on, with the door up. Burn the heal, try and get some value here. Gets the passive off onto Crisp. Hit by the Winter's Bite. Spirit of Cultivation comes on down. Scout with the priority in mid lane allows Shun to come in and contest those wraps. Gets a good chunk. Tien as well. Eats a lot of damage there from the command attack dissonance combo. Some damage going on down. Onto the dragon instead. Don't think we're going to see too much of a contest. Shouldn't got a little low there, but won't lead to all that much. It's just been a relatively quiet early game with the exception of that flash out of mid. Dragon goes the way of JDG. That's about all we have to write home about for now.
Yeah, apologies for being late live today, folks. I overslept and didn't have any alarms. So, is it technically oversleeping? Well, I didn't oversleep an alarm. I overslept when I was about to get up. That's what it was.
Very true.
Pays might go for some Braum passive here, and does. That auto reset. Really nasty. Of course, Pays, for most of this year, was the hero of JDG, despite the failings of many other roles within JDG. I think in summer, of course, or split 3 technically, Xiaoshu was the guy that was doing crazy work for this team. Tian looking towards mid, stun coming out of Xiaohu, shockwave back.
Ooh, good shockwave damage. Oh my days, the damage from the martial cadence enough to bring him down. Xiaohu, of course, not having that flash from earlier, comes back to bite him there as they go looking for a trade, and Scout goes, no.
God, yeah, it's just a really good read from Shun coming through. Xiaohu thinks that he can combo up into Tian, instead he is the target, and Weibo are the recipients of first blood.
That actually has also led to a fairly significant gold lead. I kind of hadn't been looking too much at the top of the screen, thinking it had been fairly close, and in some ways it had, but I am looking at 1,000+ gold lead right now to JDG, which is a bit weird, has to be said. Mostly out of that early laning lead from mid, from jungle, a little bit from bot as well. Pays has actually been one of our more dominant Nymaera players. Trying to remember the name of the champion for a second there. Good grief. Not like we see her in every
Prayer
series.
beads flinger.
The prayer beads flinger.
Yep.
Is she, do you think she flicks them or flings them?
Absolutely a flinger. So.
Ah, she's a flinger. Okay. Ah. Well, what defines a flinger?
I just feel it's in the vibe, Sam. I feel like they're
It's all in the wrist.
Yeah, it's all in the fling of the wrist.
Yeah, that's it.
Fling of the wrist, Sam.
Fling of the wrist, exactly. And no one will get that reference, so that's perfectly fine. Joe, I think, will be getting a lot of damage. He will get that reference because he's played a lot of League of Legends. That happens fairly regularly. Pays, though, gets a lot of damage back onto Light. He's going to be forced to barrier. All while Grubs were going down, but down the support makes things a bit interesting. Xiaoxu threatening the all-out onto Tien, who has to go over the wall with the warrior tricks to Pays. Arc of Ruin still there, trying to get a bit of a chunk off. It's a bit split off from his team, though. And Xiaoxu in the back of this pit can theoretically find his way out with an all-out if he has to, but he's trying to hold on to as best he can, still wanting to contest for that last grub. It's 1-1 at this point. There's the all-out, dragging Breathe away. And the Corki is the one that secures that last grub, so Weibo do get it. They also get the kill. Bit of a weird old skirmish. The problem is they're now trapped in the pit, and Breathe flashed back in. Flag and Drag will ensure that actually in terms of kills, it's a 1-for-1.
Weibo come away with the 2 grubs, so they're on the objective board. The dragon to the other side. Getting a little bit worried that Weibo are giving a lot of early game kill gold over towards JDG. Now, for the record, folks, this matchup, JDG Weibo, has always been a very, very close one. These two pretty much always go the distance when it comes to best of 5s, a little less so recently, but I think they had something like a 4-series streak of going either 3-2 or 2-1 if it was a best of 3.
Insane, actually, yeah.
These two teams really go at it. Scout versus Xiaohu now, of course, the matchup in the mid lane for this too, which used to be the big matchup between RNG and EDG, which was
so long ago,
it
yeah.
defined the LPL for a long time, that matchup in the mid lane. This matchup today, I have to say, I think if it is more about these teams battling their own demons rather than each other. Both these teams have the stuff to make it through this bracket, actually. It's about current form, and it's about overcoming their shortcomings of this year.
And now, Alex, I know chat can't see this, but I'm holding up my hand, and oh, is that the finger curling on the monkey's paw?
Sam, you're curling your own paw.
I am.
By definition, Sam, you're calling yourself.
I am. That's true. Have you seen me play League of Legends?
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, the point being that I seem to recall a particular bargain that Scout was struck in the LPL for summer, involving the number of best of 5s he is obligated to win. How many best of 5s with Scout out in summer right now in terms of wins?
Gosh, Sam, I actually have to go check.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, whatever. Let me go check, just because you might actually be right. Oh my god. The question is, do they have enough to make it through to Worlds?
Yeah.
Or yeah, that's the point. Or will they just bomb out here? So, in Split 3, how many did they win? Well, they technically won one for the qualification match.
Okay.
But maybe we don't count. Well, there's one.
Count it.
2, 3. They've won 3 already,
Oh,
Sam.
they've won 3 already.
They won the qualification match versus LGD 3-0. They won they lost in upper bracket, being reverse swept by a BLG. Beat EDG in a 5-game series, beat Weibo, so they've done their 3 if you count the play-in portion of it. Oh god, and they're going on towards Xiao here, lands the stun.
Yeah, a fair amount of damage. The TP coming down on the flag. I always forget that's a mechanic. It is quite funny. Dragon's live. They got a big chunk on the Xiao who doesn't have the TP available.
Dragon started. JDG. I don't think it's easy for Weibo to commit here. I'm sorry, just having a chuckle because Castle actually been a banger of a joke. Now whenever anyone misses their skill shots, you can just say they're aiming for their demons. What do you mean? I know they're battling their demons. Not like that!
That's so good. That's what happens when you throw your charms out.
That's the one, yeah. Yeah, mate, like, it's been a long time since I've been an accurate skill shot thrower.
Enjoyer, yeah.
Skill shot flinger. Shouldn't take the
Sorry,
dragon.
right.
Goes into the bot side jungle. Yeah, Chris. Hang on, there could be a shockwave here on
Yeah,
turn.
actually,
forcing the flash.
right. Good call. You were indeed correct that the shockwave was going to force at least a flash there. Valuable into someone like the Leona as well. Again, spellbook somewhat mitigates that. It has been the support summoner spell of choice. Rune is the one. Kind of be weird having spells for spell books. There's lots of spells.
Yeah, so unless you know, someone doesn't like writing very much.
Wow, that's true. Then you have dyslexia. It's a dyslexia book.
Imagine being a dyslexic mage.
I am.
Wow, how does that work when you miscast?
Yeah, precisely.
Dyslexic-
What do you think? What do you think
dyslexic-
my bad casts are called?
Yeah.
When I just don't get the words together.
Wow. That's why, for those of you who ever played Warhammer, the Orcs and Goblins had their own miscast table when spells went wrong, including a giant green foot appearing out of the sky and stomping on you.
So good. I did appreciate that element of the Warhammer games.
It was
in the
very-
sense that
Magic wasn't kind.
magic was really risky.
Yeah. It was really cool. I think this, and that's why I'm so glad that they kept with Warhammer Fantasy. And, you know, never deleted the setting for a more inferior version of Warhammer with fantasy elements. I'm glad that never happened.
Yeah, no one would ever do that. You would never have fantasy-based Space Marines. No one would ever do that.
I'm looking forward
That would
to
be a very silly
playing
concept.
my Dark Elves and my Skaven and all of these other
yeah.
factions, which are still surely in the game. Right, we should really get into the game. So, this is an elimination series in regional qualifiers. Loser of this goes home, winner plays against Invictus Gaming. JDG, they were so close last year. And in fact, this was the matchup which determined that last seed last year. Weibo made it in that last game. JDG just falling short. Potential fight in the bot jungle.
Solar Flare onto Juro, gets stunned up. The Shockwave buys some space, and Juro gets to back away. Does burn his flash and heal, but gets out alive. It's idea from Weibo, but they can't convert into anything more.
And Weibo struggling to completely land the punch. They're not too far behind right now, but if they give up another fight, that might change quite quickly. Tien versus Shun, a matchup which I absolutely have my eyes on. I know we talk about the history of Xiaohu versus Scout, and you can't not, but I do think that a lot of playoffs, and the reason why Weibo beat anyone's legend in the upper bracket, of course couldn't win in the lower bracket, but the reason why they won against anyone's legend was because of jungle difference. Really, almost every series, besides weirdly the BLG ones, was because of jungle difference, individual pathing, individual impact. Tien and Shun, players which have been very far in international events before. Tien winning World, Shun World finalists. So important to track their impact for their teams. Can they bail them out of the pit they found themselves in?
Questions abound. Light is currently sitting on top of awards. They know exactly where the Corki is, and Scout just continuing to leverage his individual lead. He's 1,400 gold up individually right now. That is a massive Orianna dip.
Yeah, it's going to get larger too with that turret. Yeah, it was 2,000s now. Scout is most consistent champion this year. Probably has been the Orianna, actually. Somewhat surprised with that in mind that they gave Scout that matchup. Yes, Xiaohu has the Orianna, has the Annie rather. Strange looking Orianna with a bear. He's just like, command, attack. I laugh. Scout, though, on the Orianna. Yeah, this has been his more consistent pick. Tim will steal away a blue buff. We'll see if Scout, despite his failings, realistically, of this year, can he turn up when it matters most?
You're going to find the Glacial Fissure into the Shockwave combo. Turns out Braum is the best ball carrier. Never mind a job when he gets a flag and Dragon Cross Light flashes out of the Solar Flare. And now Light's in danger's got Flash and a barrier. Will need to burn at least one. Overcomes Xiao, who gets a decent stun. But the Pathmaker onto 2 gets so much value as Pays unleashes in the back of the pit. And JDG run rampant with multi-man damage everywhere you care to look. Pays glides over the wall and picks up a triple. He is on fire.
Starts with a Shockwave, ends with an Arc of Ruin. Pays uses both as summoners, but it is a huge fight for JDG. Only Xiaohu limping back to his base. That will be the Herald. That will be JDG using this one fight to go towards this top lane tower as well. And the gold lead explodes. Now over 4,000 gold in the advantage. They can reset, and because Weibo died so much, they're not even going to be on the map in time for the dragon spawning in 10 seconds.
We'll look again at this one because it starts with Jewel just walking out of bush, double Glacial Fissure into double Shockwave off of Braum.
Oh gosh, wow. I mean, the Shockwave, the Cataclysm, there's so much HP down already.
Yeah.
Fighting from this kind of HP deficit is very hard when you have quite low-range champions like the Wukong. Of course, the Corki is not the longest range in terms of auto attacks, I suppose, too. Great entrance. Oh, W Flash over Lore Pays, cleansing, very nearly killing Xiao, who has to back off that one. Almost dies for it, but hey, it works out in the end.
He gets it, though, and one thing we'll never say about Pays is that he's shy when he sees the angle in team fights. That'll sometimes come at cost in high-pressure scenarios, but when it works, my god, this guy, one of the most scary carries out there. See why he was the replacement for Ruler and did so well for Genji, and then he was the replacement for Ruler again on JDG. It has been one of their stars all year, even if I think this has perhaps been a little quieter from the normally superlative 80 carry.
The thing about Pays, and I saw some conversation on Twitter amongst the JDG fans when they were eliminated from playoffs, I think the worst thing to happen to Pays' career is to be compared to Ruler.
Yeah.
Because this guy has been genuinely awesome of a career, especially for such a short one, comparative. It's only his second year in pro play. He was on a Genji super team known as potentially the best in the world. Now he's here on JDG, and he's done a damn fine job with them for the grand majority of it. Dragon has spawned JDG, holding the river dark.
He is no longer the understudy. We'll be looking to underwrite this one as a victory. Oh, the 3-man Shockwave! Wonderful stuff from Scout. Xiao, who tries to turn it around, but it's a desperation station, and the Care Bear can do nothing as Jing Dong Gaming eviscerate what remains of Weibo and make it look easy.
JDG, I think they could just leave the dragon. They can look towards the inner turret. I'll see if they can even get themselves the inhibitor turret. I'm not sure they can get the full thing. JDG, disgusting team fights. The shockwaves from Scout have set them up for so much success. They will be able to get themselves the dragon. They don't commit enough members to get the inner turret after all. I was wondering, it's a little early in the game actually.
18 minutes.
Like that. Yeah, I was like, wow, there's so many dead. Surely they run down the whole mid lane. Not quite so, but God, what a great start again to this fight. The shockwave was magnificent.
Oh.
Does it himself. No ball carrier needed this time. Yes, there's a flash cyclone, but it's a very good pre-redemption to make sure that the full healing comes through. Cataclysm, everything you need, and Weibo full apart.
I don't think I've seen a team fight from JDG this clean in a long time. The issue, of course, has been, at least in playoffs, that they have the first two games look absolutely incredible, and then they kind of run out of drafts a bit. And we saw this against BLG in the upper bracket. We saw this a little bit against AL when it's got rumbled in general. But right now, looking very, very good. They are up an incredible amount of gold for the time in the game. They're at soul point. There's petals everywhere you care to look. You've got an Orianna who's gone pseudo battle mage, though has taken her lead and gone towards a Horizon Focus second for the stat stick. And we're 10 stacks on the scene.
We're seeing a little bit more of the Horizon Focus second from Roa builders. We've seen it a lot in Victor. I can't remember who did it first, but I know Scout was doing a lot of it. I think Chovy picked it up too, and let's be honest, most people just follow Chovy builds, which, not gonna lie, I love the guy. Not always the best guy to follow on the builds all the time. Xiaoshu pushing in towards that bot lane. JDG, the only thing which could stop this train now is an incredible Atacon throw. And I'm just saying, it spawned 20 seconds ago. There is a chance that Weibo could use the death of all games, Atacam, to do something special. But have JDG learned anything about Atacam setups? This is on Vision. Weibo, they would need to commit a teleport to get up there. There's not that many people in range right now from Weibo.
I don't know how quickly they can get over, especially with Xiaoxu potentially just body blocking them. Well, footwork initially, Pathmaker to buy some time. They could now Cyclone, flashes away before that initial trade can come on in. As over comes Breathe, looking to unstoppable onslaught in, but there comes the command Protect, won't be in time. Atakan should fall here, so it'll end up being Xiaoxu's life for Atakan.
That's not a good enough trade for Weibo. It's not a good enough trade. JDG have great vision across the map, and they spot out Weibo as they head towards it. Easy as you like. No contest came in. Weibo, yes, they get one kill. It doesn't matter, though. Is it sad that Xiaoxu loses his deathless game? Yes, a little. Anything else more important? Yeah, the fact that they get the Atakan, that is far more important.
So they tell me, yeah.
Yeah. Now, JDG, they have Atakan, they have a ton of petals, as you were talking about them spawning across the map. I think they went from about 6 to 22, which is a good haul for them. And Dragon, which would be Infernal Soul for them, spawning in 3 minutes. So all green flags for them, and Weibo, sadly, have just never got... They just didn't get rolling in this game.
No, I mean, a lot of this just has to have come out of mid lane. 3.2 thousand gold ahead individually. This Orianna has not missed a shockwave. They've all forced at minimum a flash.
Weibo, of course, on the other side of this, they are going to have to shape up quick. Paze, hang on a second. There's cleanse on Paze.
They need to burn it. Will Kanmei step to give themselves a little bit of speed there and will run really fast away from the bear.
I've been playing so much Musume, I almost called it the Sky High Teo step. Yeah. You know that Tako Teo, a notoriously flexible horse that can
what does that mean?
It means that you can kind of jump sideways very, very quickly, which was very unusual.
Yeah.
For that.
I had a friend of mine, like a colleague, effectively, who was saying like that they'd married a horse girl. And now, of course, that in the year of our Lord 2025,
what kind?
You have to ask what kind. And he went, oh God, the world is changing because Uma Musume has come out and has messed up people's perceptions.
Oh, that's just wonderful.
Yeah.
Taztec Magi's for Scout, by the way, who brought that up. We can move away from that topic if it makes you uncomfortable, Sam. It's okay. Fine.
I fear the resurgence of My Little Pony, Alex. It's just under another guise. They're the fair guys of Sauron.
Did you see that there was someone who did My Little Pony fan art of them, Celestia killing a Black Templar from
yes,
Warhammer?
I think I have.
And the fandom exploded because of course it does. Yeah. No one likes their favorite little guys getting beaten in honorable combat. Anyway, that was a whole saga. I looked that up. Folks, not gonna lie, this game, in terms of analysis, is
it's
largely over. So get ready for your own Tastosis experience of Sam
where would Tastosis go?
Sam, that duo is wild. So that's a great question.
Yeah. The one thing I will say is having a duo name that makes it sound like you taste toes on a regular basis is a problem. You know?
Well, that would be a tangent which they would go on.
It's true.
Potentially. Breathe, trying to be the bulwark to give them some vision into the fog of war. Scout, kind of scary now, but doesn't have that much % HP, so the Scion particularly doesn't care.
It is Halloween, so it's a good time to be scary. And Breathe is just eating some really scary flung gears. That's what Orianna does for auto attacks. Everyone's got like guns and bows and knives. Now Orianna just throws like weird bits of scrap at you.
Weibo are very much corralled onto this bot side of the map now. Xiaoxu could go for an all-out. The team is kind of lined up for battle.
They used to throw out an Arc of Judgment and said, breathe, you smell. That was his judgment.
Wonderful, wonderful. No notes. Weibo still in bot lane. Still don't know exactly what to do. I mean, if they get a miracle 5v5, I will be astounded. Great damage from Scout there.
Crisp loses another third of his HP, but continue to look for a few more of those things going. Xiaoxu frontlining, still a bit of a problem. Again, Weibo gone for the pit comp. Don't actually have that much damage at this point in the game. There's 4,000 HP on the Dragon. Needs to deny the soul. Xiaoxu looking for the angle, goes all out. Trying to find some value. Good steal from Tien. But what about the fight afterwards? And unfortunately, I fear for Weibo Gaming as that question is being answered in very swift order. JDG have got themselves an AD carrier. Xiaoshu is still alive. Oh my days. He just won't die. And now Crisp is in danger. He's got a blast cone that he is desperately crawling towards. And Pei says absolutely not. And flings a prayer bead at his skull.
What in the Cassante moment was that? I just witnessed a Cassante at about 100 HP kill a Corki from over half HP.
Yeah.
Folks, we will get a replay of that. But what the hell, Xiaoshu? That was not legal. I will make it legal. God, Xiaoshu claims the life of light. I think it all goes dark.
Unending Despair is a hell of an item on Cassante.
That, and then also, you know what? Yeah, he did have that. I was wondering if he didn't have it on that bag, but there's the Omnivamp from All Out. It's just disgusting.
It's ridiculous.
Baron will go their way. Weibo do stop the soul, which is not... It means that it could have been worse. But seriously, folks, just watch whatever the hell Xiaoshu manages to do in this fight. He goes too deep at first. Even I, a big fan of the big man.
Did he? He won.
Well, right here, this is too far. And then somehow, he ends up getting this isolated 1v... Sam, who do you think wins this fight? He's down at 131 HP!
Alive.
He ends up getting himself so much Omnivamp, the footwork, the flash out of vision, and somehow gets the 1v1 against the Corki. Riot Games!
Oh, man.
Riot Games! Do we need to have another talk about this champion? Do we need to send our boy Showmaker over there to have another copy pasta? Ridiculous.
I fear that Showmaker has just suddenly had a horrible sensation, a premonition of clips to come, and the urge to punch his monitor one more time.
I just can't believe it, man. Right, Bryn's gonna get engaged onto this top side. He might, yeah, he'll have to alter. God, that's a lot of damage now, actually.
The tower. Yeah, Xiaohu gets a bounty. Woo!
I am so happy you're excited about that,
Yeah,
Sam.
I needed something for Weibo this game. I've not had anything.
You should join like a demolition corps. You should join like building demolition corps. I hear Majima Construction is hiring.
Oh, that'd be great. We're getting Kiwami 3.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's happening.
Shit. That's, well,
So
I'd say that game is one which has aged a little less well in the gameplay, so... Oh, God, this one's aging pretty poorly too. Xiaohu's just blitzed.
Yeah, by aging, you mean it didn't exist. So at the age of about 2 minutes, in goes Crisp with the Zenith Blade and realize this is as far as he goes. A Valkyrie away from Light, but again, I fear they may be the ones going to Valhalla. More damage continues to roll as Pace just unleashes again. Flash, flag, dragged down to hell. And Light dies as well. Breathe as a zombie tries to clear the way for Jing Dong Gaming. Dismantle Weibo in game 1, and it is not a close affair.
The candle flickers in the wind. Weibo's light goes out as JD...
Seeing a good friend.
Yeah.
When it's just cutting back to all of the flashbacks of episode 3 and stuff.
Oh my God, that's
incredible.
A really good point.
But right now, we've got episode 2, Attack of the Nico clones coming right up. Let's get in to our second game of the series.
敌军还有30秒到达战场，碾碎他。
I was quite happy with that segue.
I'm not gonna lie, Sam, I completely zoned out.
I said Attack of the Nico clones.
Oh,
that was how we got to
God,
episode 2 of the series. I was expecting more from you on that one. I'm not gonna lie.
Sam, you know what? That's actually so peak, and I just completely blanked on it.
How could you? I don't know, guys. Like, Alex, do I know them anymore?
There's the best co-caster in the galaxy,
and a good friend.
I don't know. That wasn't my best. Alec Guinness.
Hello there.
Of course I know him. He's me. That one I practiced.
You do a better Alec Guinness than I do. I feel like my Ewan McGregor's not bad.
Yeah. I'm very happy for you. I'm very happy. We could do this all game, but apparently there's some, world's qualification implication scenarios which are probably more important. I know you'll have to, I don't know, find out Star Wars stand-up set at some other time.
Light and Crisp. Now towards this bot side. Kind of got a little rolled last game, it has to be said, but that's true about pretty much everywhere on the map. Unfortunately, Weibo, we wondered whether a little bit of that magic might come in. Never really showed. Everyone kind of from Weibo Gaming never got to make a proactive move. Early hook there onto Crisp. stings a little bit. It's one of the things that Nautiluses can do into range supports early on, is just say, screw it, I hook you, and then the lane state changes real fast.
Yeah, we can see that Shun going in for this early invade is really important. Now, the last time we saw this matchup, it was actually Shadow getting butchered by Kanavi, I want to say, in finals. It was a pretty difficult game for him. Tien knows his bot side is gone. The reason why this is important is the Zed is always going to outclear you in terms of speed. So you need to take away his fuel before he starts burning even hotter. Shun manages to do that. He'll be able to go towards his bot side and isolate this bot lane matchup.
That's fairly significant because, again, you've gone for the Kai'Sa Neeko. It helps get Kai'Sa out of lane a bit easier because, again, you can follow up the CC super well. Neeko super lane dominant. And we have started to see Kai'Sas kind of need a little bit more backup in lane than, say, a Sivir or an Ezreal or a Corki. You do often need a good matchup or a good support pairing to get you through the laning phase, even if you are down 10 CS, just to get towards your points of power.
I remember start of, God, maybe last year, when we started to see lane swaps coming through, people were like, right, it's Kai'Sa time again, because end of 23, we saw some more of her. But then going into 24, standard lanes came back, she disappeared. And then with lane swaps coming and going again, we thought, well, Kai'Sa's gone now. She can't 2v2 against the best in the current meta. It could be a gank up here in top side. Tien, he sees her below half HP Renekton.
Oh boy, Xiaoshu gets Conqueror, but gets knocked up by the Darkened Blade, and it's very easy for Tien. You had to have an idea he was around there with the split jungle.
Hook lands in bot side. Neeko is a squishy support. Goes down to very low HP, but will live with the help of the heal.
Heal burned, but gets out safely. I get it, Xiaoshu. Your wave was kind of frozen against you. You need to get it crashed. There was no jungle option coming. However,
Begun? The Clone Wars have.
that was good.
Thanks, Sam. I practice it by saying, bad things for Ketamine I have done.
I knew it. I knew it. Lego Yoda is a problem.
Yeah, a menace society.
Lego Yoda death sound is the greatest thing out there.
It's very hard to do a good Lego Yoda death sound, and I'm not going to say that you do it worse than me, because that's not true. But that one does need some work, Sam. The clones again attacked.
There we go. Well, Neeko's in danger. Needs to get out of there. Good clones follow orders as Shun will flash for Chomp. And Xiao Hu will be asking, Xiao, where is my backup? I need some support. Throws out a twofold X, but unfortunately for them, always 3 in the art. No more, no less. And a flash on forwards. And Scout unleashes the full power of the dark side of the Force.
Oh, uses the Force flash over the wall to get onto Darth Tien. The Master of the Shadows can't find himself enough shade to get away. God, this is so bad. 2 for none in the bot side jungle. I hate you.
I'm trying to.
You are my jungler, Tianakin.
Tianakin. No.
Oh God. It's not getting any, folks. I'm just gonna give you a window into the future. It's not getting better from here. Crisp does not see the future in the Force, and I'm not gonna lie, I think he should have flashed over the red buff pit. I think they would at least force the flashes out on the other side in an easier way. Crisp, he's had a weird old year. Won a split in winter, then did quite poorly in spring, got kicked from top esports basically, and ended up his way back towards Weibo. Watches top esports massively outperform him, then without him, with Hung on the roster. And Chris, sadly for him, has been quite poor this split, which is a shame because I think earlier in the year he was doing very, very well in winter.
Yeah.
Just the consistency across the year, it's not been there.
He's been far away from his best.
Shut up.
Camino, no. I like this.
I was actually about to go, Camino, no, you don't.
Between worlds, we go in a galaxy far, far away. Xiao survives the burst.
So close. Scout pops on the hyperdrive and goes between worlds, perhaps between different shipping lanes. Oh, that's not the hyperspace lanes. It's probably the different one. Shun going under the turret. Now, does Tien have Shadow?
I gotta hope he does, otherwise he may be in danger. The Phantom Shadow may be required here. It's a lot of damage from Scout, goes across the veil. Will get traded back, but nearly.
Tien going down for a second time. 1, 2, and 1. And Shun has managed now to create such chaos in the early game. It has not been about the Zed farming. I think a lot of people think, but Zed, he's an early skirmisher, he'll get early kills. Zed needs farm in jungle. He really does. In fact, Trundle is the gremlin who will say, I'm not going to farm, I'm just going to kill you, go into your side of the jungle. That's not necessarily what's happening in this game. Now, Shun is very, very far ahead of where he could be.
Very much so. I'm trying to figure out whether it's worth making another Star Wars or not, Alex. You actually have a very serious, valid conversation.
Sam, do or do not. There is no try.
You know what? That's very fair. I want to point out that according to the Americans, the capital of the Republic and the Empire is in fact a French baked good. It's a croissant.
Croissant?
Yes.
Oh god. That's
It
awful,
is.
Sam.
That's what all the it's
Okay,
a giant French baked
Sam,
good.
I did say do or do not. There is no try. Maybe you should have
just not.
Maybe you should have tried.
I did.
Yeah.
I did do it though, Alex.
Yeah, suppose that is true.
A buttery croissant.
God. It does really quite annoy me actually when there's like a chocolate croissant instead of a pain au chocolat.
Yeah, it's just like
Which is, even in my very Britishism, pain au chocolat.
pain au chocolat.
Draw
Yeah,
going
bro.
in towards mid lane.
All right, darling, gonna
close
slide
on
away from the hook on that one.
that. Jesus.
Cure blimey.
Oh, very close on that one. As Xiaohu speeds himself out of the way, has himself the recurve bow close towards, you know, at that point you have a good amount of availability to get your lethal tempo up and running. First grub was taken by Weibo, last two remaining for JDG.
That is, and Shun starts bonking a couple of them down, and then we often see this where people will come in for A grab and then go, actually, we don't have enough force here, especially with rotations coming on through, to fully commit. And so JDG will be granted to.
Really just want to highlight something in chat here, and I just want to discuss this. The third grub will be taken, second for JDG, Weibo get away with one, saying, the Z pick is so bad, it's an ego pick. I don't agree. You had a draft here where JDG had a Trundle angle with no tanks available on the other side. You don't want to pick someone like the Ornn or the Scion. Really, the Scion was gone from the first game, but you know, the Trundle shreds them. And you don't have the Alistar or the Braum in terms of damage reduction supports, which are very good at kind of being pseudo tanks in that bot lane.
Yeah.
So you have to play a zero tank style. This is what Trundle opens up in a draft. You force the enemy opponent to say, do you pick specific tanks which don't have resists, or do you pick something which can be a bit more of a fighter, higher damage, high mobility composition? And they did go towards that with the Z. The Z has been a common answer into the Trundle. What's really been special about this game is the early jungle pathing and the early skirmishing of JDG. That has made the Z look a lot more toothless than it could have been.
Indeed. And of course, Tien did get that initial kill that looked very clean on top of Xiaoxu, who was trapped with the wave not fully shoved, so kind of had to risk it for the biscuit and ended up being the biscuit. The problem is for Tien got caught out of the turret, tried to survive under there, clearing out the wave so it wasn't going to waste, but that didn't happen. And again, I'm looking at this mid jungle and I'm going, actually, very good from Shun early where the Zed hasn't been able to accelerate. And on the other side, Scout, again, with the early CS lead, with the early kill lead, has been very nasty. At least it's not as bad as it was last game. By this point, we were already 4,000 or 5,000 gold towards JDG.
Oh, good sweep back there. Scout going between worlds again. Hyperdrive activated. We'll get out safely.
Punch it, Chewy. Gets out of there. And Xiaohu goes, we'll have to catch him next time.
Makes it out of there in under 12 parsecs.
Is it the castle run in mid lane? Is that we call the mid lane now?
Well, I think it's if you're in danger and you're getting ganked, Sam. That's what it makes
it is. Okay, fair enough.
That was the idea anyway. Xiaoxu's been held down quite well by that early kill in this matchup. Of course, I mean, Xiaoxu popping the ultimate now. Still a Renekton early game versus the Aatrox, and Xiaoxu's damn good at playing that matchup out.
There's a lot of value out of the Dominus damage over time as well. Breathe will trade out his own ult. Again, not exactly a shy member on this one. Actually, mid lane, Tien going to throw out the death mark. Scout goes across the veil, trying to buy some time, but it's nicely managed as the shurikens all zone in on Scout's squishy body.
He's turned off his targeting computer. He doesn't need it to land the double shurikens onto Scout. Goes invisible, but he follows him anyway. Great play there from Tien, knowing that Scout's ult was down. Good kill onto that mid lane. I don't actually think Xiaoxu got an assist there. It's technically just a solo kill. A hand solo kill for Tien. As they'll push in towards mid lane, Scout denied a bit more gold.
There and Chewbacca again.
Nice.
A ganker's tail where you return to mid lane repeatedly.
Tell you what, I've been playing through, as I was saying, I was playing through Ghost of Tsushima. For those of you that didn't watch Star Wars Visions, which is the animated shows, go watch The Duel episode. It is effectively just a Kurosawa short film, but with lightsabers. It's very, very, very cool. It's all black and white except for the red of the lightsabers. Awesome, honestly. Just no notes, great stuff. I think they're doing a second episode specifically of that because it did so well. That was
really cool.
That was the one which I think sold a lot of people on the show. A lot of the other ones were like, okay, it's whatever. That one was the special one. Going towards top lane now, 2 grows for JDG. Scout denied some gold in that mid lane, but Scout has forever been the guy that knows how to play around side lanes. This time calling up jungle and AD carry, really wanting to walk up here with the Triforce Trundle to try and force first turret.
It's going down real fast. We've seen this quite a lot over the year. Trundle and an empty turret does a lot of work. Xiaohu now turning up the hook onto him. Oh, Xiaohu! That's a problem. Popos on the other side as Chris tries to buy some space and keep Xiaohu alive, but the pillar comes up and Scout throws out a winning and a twofold hex. And always two of them are. No more, no less. Unfortunately for Tien, they're wishing there were a few less because the damage keeps rolling and Shun keeps bonking. He's not got a club, he's got a damn lightsaber. An elegant weapon for a more civilized gank as Breathe, unfortunately, breathes no more.
Weibo just go one by one and fall one by one. They trickle into the top lane play. And the economics of that, much like real life, just don't work very well. Weibo, lose the turret, lose 4 members, and JDG pick up a massive amount of gold.
That was the moment that JDG were looking for. Breaks the game wide open. George lands a hook on Xiao, who's trying to clear the wave.
That's ridiculous.
Thinks he's out, and the lollipop catches him.
I mean, in any in any God-given scenario, in a good world, with so many members walking up, Weibo should have walked out of this fine. But you catch out the Azir alone, Tien goes in alone, and this is the problem when the Zed is not that fed or anything. You don't get the ability to one-shot the way you did before, and his ult wasn't even on cooldown, still 5 seconds or so. Turret goes low, Breeze left alone there too, and JDG just smashed through the fight. Breathe even blows the flash. This is capitulation from Weibo.
It's looking pretty dire. They've got a Cull on Light and a Dream there, but again, you're looking at the Sivir, who is 20 CS up. You're looking at a 3-2 Aurora, who's again up 800 gold. Big lead for Shun in the jungle in terms of relative to the matchup, I want to say, because again, Zeds you normally expect to really accelerate here, and he has gotten the majority of the kill gold here, but he's not ahead, and that's a problem.
And I think the big problem was, in a game such as this, with all that we've been talking about, Weibo didn't even bring their lightsaber to the play.
I saw your face, and I knew that it was going to be another pun. Literally, there is a particular eyebrow raise that Alex does, kind of his forehead wrinkles in a particular way that tells me what's coming.
You don't have to give them all of the information.
I know, I knew what was going on.
So,
from the facial expression alone.
This isn't the joke you're looking for. JDG will move to the bot side of the... If you want to go home and rethink your cast. Scout defending the top side between worlds again. Might die for the defense.
Oh, does get to the other side, but there's a pop blossom coming on through. Does do a fair amount of work at the end. Takes the turret aggro and Scout goes across the veil. Oh, God. Now Light hit for the depth charge. And unfortunately, this was looking pretty dicey for them. Jaw ends up taking a little bit too much damage and Pace needs to leave. 2 failed turret dives on both sides.
Light manages to slip the noose in the mid lane turret. JDG, though, I still think getting the better of things. Defend the top side, breathe. They are going to catch Pace. That does add a little more to the equation. The Sivir will go down. The Ricochet is not enough. JDG will keep pushing on bot side, and the Triforce Trundle keeps pushing. JDG, a massive macro win.
They lose 2 in trade for just the 1 top side, but they do get the 2 turrets as well. That's pretty big. I would like to see what happened in the mid lane to see exactly how JDG ended up over-egging it a little bit down there.
I'm not going to lie. In the mid lane, from my understanding of that, Draw pops the ultimate, doesn't correctly combo the hook or the passive into the full CC of the Kai'Sa, which allows Light to then ult out. Light didn't even use either of his summoners. That's a big misplay from Draw. Of course, a player that came in to JDG quite late in the season. Dragon will be taken by Shin, Herald traded on the other side. And I suppose going back to the actual meat and potatoes of the stories of this series, JDG have had a torrid year. They've dropped from being a top team in the LPL realistically over the course of last year into this one, really. Of course, they were not world's representatives of last year, despite being second. Central catch on Tien. Well, doesn't have that ultimate, so we can go back to it. JDG, how many changes they had this year? Well, they changed out everyone but support at first. That's 4. And then they changed out Arla for Xiaoshu, and then they changed out Wink for... Missing for Wink, and then Draw. So that's 6 changes total, I want to say. Scout, massive outplay under the turret here. And Scout, for all of his failings this year, has occasionally come up with some of these really slick plays. I mean, he can't completely defend the turret after this point, but getting the extra kill, disgusting. This failed dive on the other side, though. Draw gets minion blocked a little. He gets a minion block. I was wondering, okay, well, why did it not perfectly CC? Light ended up dragging himself to the other side of the tower with a minion between him and his opponents. Draw couldn't get through it.
No staggering blows, no hook, and that means that Kai'Sa just gets to glide around, didn't have to blow the flash or the barrier. And Light goes, yeah, that one was a little bit too far, guys.
Well, Draw will find himself... Hang on a second. Xiaoshu is kept out alone on this other side now.
Be in a dangerous position here. Gets a decent chunk back, but there's the death mark, and Xiaoshu now will be a dead man as the pop comes on through. And Zed secures another.
Hey, starting to get some more gold now. Onto the Zed. A bit of an overextension from Xiaoshu. Not his cleanest game. Still ahead 1,000 gold, which is incredible for him. And we know how good he is on the Renekton. We'll have to show that in team fights, though. Can't exactly show that in the 1v3 in the way that he wanted to. Weibo down a lot of gold. Again, 3,000, 17 minutes is actually quite significant. Not as big as last game, actually. I think around this point last game, it was actually getting towards... I can't remember, whatever. Doesn't matter in terms of the specifics of it. Either way, Weibo's early games have just not been that good versus JDG. And sadly for them, much like playoffs, we were hoping for a close series between these two teams. And I'm not sure this iteration of Weibo versus JDG is working well for Weibo. We were talking about, you know, these teams really need to battle their own demons. Weibos are getting the better of them again and again. I think that the early skirmishing, the early plans are just not as tight and synchronized as they have been on previous iterations of the Weibo squad. The Weibo rose to prominence in 2023. They built themselves a super team. They had the Shy, Casa, Chris was there too. Bunch of international title winners. They had to rejig that a little bit through 2023. They brought in Weiwei instead of Casa partway through the year, and they used that to get to Worlds somehow, some way. They were the only team with a winning record against JDG in that year, which is insane. Other teams went even. Weibo were the only ones with a winning record, beat them in both regular seasons. This roster, though, struggling a lot more. Tienka Shadow over the wall. Weibo have made the last 2 Worlds, despite their different rosters. This one might be the first in this era of LPL to miss it.
Be something, wouldn't it? Again, not done yet. But Weibo are down 2,000 to 3,000 gold at this point, and Tien is not enjoying being between worlds. Scout, a little bit deep there, survives, and Crisp certainly does not. Breathe, trying to get some decent healing off. He's got a number of members around. He can potentially look to get more value out of with the Darkened Blades. Will not be able to do so as he's forced to flash away.
So it's a 1 for none. Weibo giving up control. Hang on a second, there's a flash on Paze. If we can get in range, close to the edge of that Boomerang Blade. Paze won't get that kill. Can we stop the recall here?
And Zhuo gonna be forced to flash away as light came careening on him. Will supercharge it forward. Passive order should do it.
Help us, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're our only hope.
I was trying to find an Obi-Wan pun, and that's the one we end up with. Oh.
Yes, Sam. Yes, it is. Obi-Wan Kenobi helping out the Weibo Alliance. On the other side with a quick donated kill, recalling way too far into enemy territory. Thinks he has the vision control and does not. This isn't the support you're looking for.
Oh, so we have like a C3 breathe out.
Shut up. That's actually pretty good.
I now need to find an R2D2 option, but that's fine.
We can workshop it.
Work that
Sam Atakan has spawned. JDG may well just go straight onto it. Weibo, they are not in position to contest this. Now, Weibo do occasionally give up an Atakan and say, we'll just not contest. But I think with Xiaohu recalling, they do... Well, they're just going to be late to the Atakan then if this happens.
They are. And again, the damage is looking pretty good here. Down to 5,000 HP. They can rush this again. Tien, with no flash, could still potentially shadow in here. Very difficult to keep Zeds out of the pit. Is now around. Potential smite fight. Needs to get there! Very damn close, but no, it is JDG that get the correct amount of burst. Breathe now in danger. Hit with the Ruthless Predator. The culling of the meat commences. Pop Blossom onto one. Flash out from Pace. Keeps him alive. And Crisp trades his life for it. Now Scout goes between worlds. Will blast the Kaiser. Xiaohu tries to slide people away with the Emperor's Divide. But again, you can't divide by 0, which is the number of Weibo members remaining.
Weibo don't get the objective. They definitely don't get the fight. And Xiaoshu with a 4-man empowered Q midway through the fight gains so much HP and takes so much from the enemy team that the fight is unwinnable. After that point, Weibo, they're late to the objective, and despite Tien being 13 HP off, can't quite get it. Ends up being Xiaoshu that I think that ends up taking it at the last bit. Very close, both junglers smiting there. And watch Xiaoshu right here. Empowered Q after Chris goes in onto, I think, 4 members. Look at this, that's ridiculous. Gets it onto so many, gains a ton of HP, and just giving this kind of fight to a Renekton, Xiaoshu's Renekton in particular, is just not a winning fight. Weibo, they barely get anything for it. They get the AD carry. That is it.
Flash for Ruthless Predator to make sure the Azir gets to do nothing there. And then just look at the damage from Xiaoshu. He did 6.8k.
Well, that's what happens when you get this kind of mid-game fight for Xiaoshu's Renekton in particular. He is one of the best players of this champion in the world right now. Dragon has spawned, and folks, this series has been easy for JDG so far. JDG have barely had any contest against them in the early game. JDG have rolled over that very, very effectively into mid-game leads. JDG, a team which were really struggling to be coherent with their playmaking before. They would often in mid-game just throw themselves into poor engages. This time, it has looked so much more coherent for them.
Scout, I'll note, by the way, has decided to do some light reading here. It's only 10 pages in, but I hear it's a real page-turner.
Right, yeah. Light reading is on the other side. If it kills him, he actually gives more stacks, you know.
That's true.
I do kind of want there to be a champion which has like a special version of Medjai's. Just like
that would be fun.
You know how Aurora gets a special version of upgraded death cap from
Does
Ornn?
she?
Yeah, she gets like a friendship hat from Ornn pretty much. It's very cute.
Yeah. I didn't know that.
Draw Obi-Wan Kenobi.
No! Runs into the I think I need to find a Darth
Strike
Vader.
me down and I'll become more powerful than you could possibly imagine.
That's not actually true in League of Legends.
It's very much
Unless
not
you're
true.
Karthus.
That's true. That is true. Sometimes...
Are Jedi just liches?
Where's the phylactery?
That is true.
Yeah.
Where is the Jedi phylactery?
Questions I never thought I'd be asking.
This is how you do D&D.
Thousands
Star
of
Wars.
people between multiple streams. All right, mid lane out. It's turret, Weibo. True. There are some very good. D&D like games for Star Wars actually. The Force and whatchamacallit, not Force Unleashed. There's some fancy
the
flaws,
whatchamacallit is what we
yeah.
said.
Yeah. That's what we called the Exegorth for years.
The light side of the whatchamacallit.
This is a bad recall from Breathe.
Just hold your
Hang on a
breath.
second.
Oh, no! Breathe! Not like this! Ladies and gentlemen, and everyone else, we are here today to celebrate the life and death of Breathe. Take 5 minutes, bring some flowers to the funeral, maybe some petals, which JDG have thoughtfully brought 33 of to this
very
game.
kind of them.
I know.
Mid lane outer turret was taken by Weber. Hang on a second. They stopped the recall because Xiao, who thought he was safe over the wall, he's... I don't know, can he teleport in now?
Double funeral.
I mean, Xiaoshu might be able to survive through to his next combo. How many
Scouts
people
here
are
as
moving
well.
up to him?
And there's another blast cone. I don't think we're getting to the Hex Gates. Just shouldn't want to flash for this. That's a really good pillar. Scout goes across the veil. Tien is waiting. Scout. This might be a bit boring. It's all a ruse. Trying to bait into Light. Trying to get to the other side as Scout. But bouncing back around. Does eventually fall, but it will cost Light his life. A reminder, Weibo's still trapped in the pit. Xiaoshu now turning on up. Will begin to cull the meat. They do lose the Civ here, but the rest of the fight looks ugly as Tien gets over the wall with the Living Shadow and Hex Gates out to safety. That's not actually that bad for Weibo.
It ends up being, what, 2 for 2, all things
Three,
said and
yeah.
because Light goes down there too. So it's still a winning, quote-unquote, play for JDG, but with shutdowns and everything else, I think Weibo are not unhappy with that, given how badly it should have gone. Some slick moves and maneuvering from Xiaohu to at least get something back from the play.
Little bit of an overchase there from JDG, who went into the trap with Tien just hanging around the other side of that Baron Pit wall. And ends up getting both Scout and Pace. Credit to Scout for it was nearly a very nice dance back and forth across between worlds to drag Light out of position. It just didn't work. But Blast going into Clown Car.
Xiaohu does manage to survive through to his second combo. Scout goes over the wall. I don't think he realizes that Tien is so close, because he tries to dip, dive, and dodge again, and instead goes right back into the Zed, who gets that last auto. Kills him quite cleanly there, actually. And after that point, look, Xiaohu does a damn fine job of getting pace here. I am very surprised he manages to get that, but just about manages it. Again, gets out with the Hex Gates. Ends up... It could have been so much worse. So much worse.
Yeah, it could. JDG still at soul point. A minute till Hex Soul, by the way. Worth noting that one. Again, lost a few pages, did Scout, but can rewrite them in short order. Looking for potential flank angle. Goes between worlds. Gets a chunk onto TM, but not quite onto Crisp. Ends up just being a little bit of burn, a little bit of poke, and not too much more.
Hey, just noticed as well, Scout lost some Medjai stacks in that too, because he died. So he's down. Did we mention that before? Okay, cool. Sam mentioned that already. So Sam realized that before. I only realized that now. Great, cool.
Well, I'm glad we go through very similar thought patterns.
Yeah, there is that. I was trying to think of the, because I like to kill my points with context, and we might kill the Baron with some pointy swords and stuff like that. JDG looking to contest Weibo. They're on desperation. Station's going low.
Oh, gets across there, but that's going to be a take on the Baron. That's well done. The fight after, though, gets dicey. They kill the Trundle. Scout looking to find an angle. Missed the twofold Hex. Good chunk as Xiaoshu blows up the Azir. Tien trying to run away. Hexgate. Light goes in with a killer instinct. Gets a couple. He bounces all over them. That's a triple kill of Weibo, right back in it. The gold lead disappeared under the weight of the Akathian rain.
Weibo somehow do it. The light shines brightly as the dark of JDG punished them around the Baron. They didn't see it happen. They didn't have that vision around it, and Weibo burst it. They have the Azir and the Kai'Sa to shred the objective, and suddenly Weibo have a gold lead. The Hex Soul will be denied as well. JDG, what have you done?
That's a 2.7k lead for Light now. How many shutdowns did that man just pick up? He can reset and buy a full item.
That is ridiculous. I mean, what's happening here? It's a great Emperor's Divide to stop the flash, the flash from Trundle potentially being used. Actually, it doesn't have that, but stopping and getting into the pit. The hook misses, and Paze is actually left with no one on the front line, and he has top jungle completely running at him. Tien sets things up with Breathe to make sure that Light can fly in and get himself 3 kills out of the fight. Ridiculous goal going towards it, and that is a sigh of relief, folks. We might have ourselves a bit of a twist and turn in this story on our hands.
Just bought a full Zhonya's on the back, did Light.
That's ridiculous. And now that will help against the likes of the Nautilus ult, against the Aurora trying to burst out too.
Yeah.
The whole bot side of the map is suddenly just lit up with items for Weibo.
And by the way, Paze is still only at 2.
And that's huge. You know, I mean, he hasn't got himself towards, you know, the Flicker Blades just yet. Paze has been struggling to follow the engage. Because Weibo are a very mobile team. They just reposition away from the Sivir, and then they reposition back onto the Sivir once they have the numbers advantage after the first kill went down.
Somehow, some way, JDG find the way to throw a game. They have been known to do this every now and then. Just let the brain fade come on in.
It's not something the LCK would tell you. It leads to powers that some may deem unnatural.
I think you'll find this game stage as fully playable.
Oh my god, Chris going in.
Oh, that's a good Pop Blossom. Flashes on in. You may fire when ready, but the turnaround comes on through. Depth charges on. Tier 2 secured. Weibo retreat. Nice angle from Chris. Forced the retreat, but not the kill. Scout looking for a weirding twofold Hex combo. Can't quite find it. Xiaohu now running away. We saw the chase onto him the last time. End up going very poorly. Between worlds they go. Goes golden. Buys some time. But to what end? As he just gets blasted.
Oh, Light, now he's caught out alone here. JDG closing the gap.
With supercharger, buys some time. He's kiting well. Shun coming. The pillar is nasty. Crystallix goes golden, but to what end again? It's the statement we keep bringing up because maybe put the barrier, but you've got a Renekton on yourself. Can get it blown up. Tien now walking up with Chris, looking to go for a Deathmark angle. Does avoid the weirding as a result, but he gets an Eclipse Shield burning, but not quite down until Xiaoshu culls the meat. Now back onto Breathe they go, and JDG right the ship. Just a prank, guys. Just a prank. Weibo have their hearts broken in the jungle.
Oh, there was a new hope in the last fight, but JDG strike back in episode 5. Weibo can't close things out in the way that they would have liked. JDG even walking towards poor Chris. Doesn't have flash. They won't be able to get enough CC. JDG will take themselves another tower. The respawn's coming through from Xiaohu soon, though. Will not be the base broken.
So it's still a 5.7k Baron power play for Weibo. They lose some members on the back end of that, and that's a little awkward. Some key flashes and the light down. We'll have a look here. So what happened? How did Xiaohu end up caught on the way out so freely?
So he slides over the wall here, and it's just desynced recalls and desynced defense, really. I think they had to stick together as a unit. They end up getting very slow out to the fight then at this point. I think you have two options. You either let just the Azir die. I suppose they kind of did. It's just that Light also gets stuck. We didn't see what happened with Light. That was a big thing there too. So both their carries, you did so well in that last fight, taken out so easily. You know, he actually did pop the barrier, you know, he just dies immediately. Had the ult as well, just not enough damage to outplay at that point. And then at that point, you're down both your carries. They're the people with the gold. Don't have enough to completely out-damage at that point.
Tien does a decent job of avoiding a fair amount of the damage. Death marks to avoid Scout's full combo, but again, just not enough health bar, not enough ways to get out. It's been a weird game from Tien. There's been some good moments, but the team fights in particular have been tricky, with the exception of that Baron play, probably, where they end up getting the triple kill onto
into light. Scout looking for the shotgun. A less civilized weapon from a less civilized age.
So uncivilized.
Eat lead.
Don't think Aurora throws lead. It's kind of like
No. I do think they should.
Abjuration
I think they
magic.
should make an Elma third Scout skin.
That
Not
would be-
Scout skin, Aurora skin.
Oh, that would be good. Well, but then they would be the bunny rabbits.
Exactly, it would be both. It would be both in one.
Could it
You'd have
not be a
Bunny-
Bugs Bunny? I feel like
If you could get the rights for it to have Bugs Bunny Aurora,
and then
that would
Graves
be
could be Elmer Fudd.
wonderful, wonderful. You know what? No, it's fantastic. 20 seconds now, 30 seconds rather, till the dragon would be soul for JDG. Weibo trying desperately to stop that last objective coming through. And they see into this next play, get themselves enough information to work with.
Quite yet. Hook goes a little wide there. Decent chunk there onto Shun, who got rooted up by something. I think it must have been the Tangle Barbs from Crisp. They're cleansed out, down to half HP. Not that tanky on the Trundle, reminder. Your tankiness is predicated on an ult. And who do you steal stats from in this game, as we were talking about earlier?
And he doesn't have any camps. He doesn't have. Hang on, breathe is on the flank.
Does get spotted by Duo. Depth charge onto him. Xiaoshu in the front line doing his best to slide away from the sniper dive. Oh, Duo gets blasted as the Tangle Barbs land, and they lose the Nautilus.
Breathe still has his ult running, doing some damage, and they're zoning JDG off the objective.
Xiaoshu throws down the dominance. The redemption comes on through. Xiaoshu, though, had a really nasty angle there with the soldiers, and that means that this dragon is surely Weibo's.
The game's gonna go on. The game will go on. 2 dragons for Weibo now. 2 soul chances denied from JDG. The space opera continues. JDG not even really at a gold lead anymore. It's gone back and forth between the big objectives. And folks, if you've never seen yourself a Weibo versus JDG matchup before, these teams really do just go hell for leather at each other. A matchup that always delivers here in the LPL.
So a TP angle, there's double TPs coming on in. Baron's up. And it's JDG in position in the river first. Xiaohu's TP'd into mid lane, looking to get that wave shove. Can he throw down a Sun Disc as well?
Double Zhonya's, double flashes available for the carries of Weibo. JDG on the other side have none of that Zhonya's defensive tool, and they don't have flash on Scout either. So JDG maybe in a worse position on their carries, actually, and which makes sense. They're down 2,000 gold each. JDG don't get to rush the Baron, though. Weibo will be able to stave off that attempt.
So far, a couple wards behind. Resets come on through. With Hex Gates, your reset time is just that much faster. At this point as well, we are just waiting to see how the Baron plays out. Looks aside, this game has gone from being kind of a one affair to JDG to much more of a coin flip.
I love myself an even game like this. Really does feel like you get to see the story as it's written. It's not something that is completely set in stone. Thought it was, though, for a lot of this game. We were like, oh, the analysis is just gone from this game. Baron in the dark again, but Weibo will spot it out. Again, very easy to check now with the AP Kaiser W's occasionally hitting a champion, giving you extra vision of where people are around. In fact, not stopped that. Hayes gets away with that one on the escape shuttle.
They seem to find the rebel codes, though. Yeah, reset from Xiaoshu comes back out. He's picked up an Elixir of Wrath available to be procced on point. Also note that in Scout's inventory also has an Elixir of Sorcery. Big spikes for the Dragon or the Baron.
So Pays has himself some pretty good defensive tools now. He has the barrier and or for more of Malmortius. You can laugh, no, Sam, was an and or joke.
Took me a second.
Yeah,
it took me a second. I'm sorry. Yeah, I missed it. I was like, hang on, and or?
Don't worry, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's it.
I have friends everywhere that will laugh at that in chat. So that's another and or reference, which you two could be watching. Such great TV. So Baron started up now. The Trundle can heal off of this for forever. They only have to 2-man it. The Dragon's not up for a while. Weibo lacking that vision.
Xiaoshu debating a look forwards there. Won't quite find it. Shun looking to try and steal the blue buff. Doesn't. Pella comes on down. Pulled back there by the Infernal Chains. Scout steps to look at Crisp. Gets a decent chunk of the Celestial opposition. Crisp was trying to catch Scout going forwards, but misreads it and is now down the ult.
Oh, that's anything but Crisp. Breathe over the wall. What is he doing?
Oh dear, that one's rough. Survived for a while. Sterax, flash, ult. Stays alive for now. Flashing on forwards. Shun rooted up by the tangle bar to prevent that flash from being as valuable as it might otherwise have been.
Breathe goes through a bit of a sabak gamble, looks to see if he can get over that wall and into a flank angle, loses most of his HP and his ultimate and the Sterak's. He'll have to teleport back into the play. JDG with the firm advantage.
Jump onto Xiaohu by Scout. That's half of his HP. Xiaohu with a flank. There's everyone grouped. They're in so much danger. Forced to flash to Xiaohu with the dominance rolling. Can't get what he was looking for per se, but Weibo forced to back away. Flash burned on Bree.
This could go either way. This could go either way. Might come down to a case of he really did shoot first. Who can land that first play in the big fight? Breathe and Xiaoxu both failing on their flank angles. Baron still alive.
Again, we go duo down to about half. Scout caught out a little bit here by the Infernal Gems, but just about to safety.
Breathe, getting his ultimate back in 5 seconds. He's got to back up. The World Ender is back and available. This is the thing about late game fights. Your ultimates are just up so much more quickly. Shun spotted here. Xiaoxu on the other side does have flash. Baron now started by Weibo.
Xiaoxu doesn't have the ult or the Sterak's right now. He's burned in the last play. Pays is here, but it's knocked down about a third of his HP. And it's jumping at Crisp! Has to flash! That's unfortunate Hexgate timing. Light looking for an angle. Can't land the Void Seeker onto Pace. On the other side, Breathe trading up with Scout. Breathe is winning that one right now. The World End, dangerous work. Light goes in. Invulns the hook with the Zhonya's, but the Boomerang Blade claims his life. Light dead is a lot of the gold. Pays low, healing up off the Grub. They blow up Crisp as well. Xiaohu in danger. Hit by the Dredge Line. Emperor's Divide knocks away 3, but a dice rolls the nat 20 and ensures the death of Xiaohu. Tien throws out some shurikens, but to what end? Where do you go as the pillar comes on through a death mark? But unfortunately this time, the assassin's orders are to commit seppuku. There's nowhere for him to go but the death realm.
Ah, no, it's JDG swinging down the hammer, beheading Weibo. I don't know how you do that with a hammer. It's messy, and this game was too. JDG, through by hook or by crook, will find themselves to the Nexus and take themselves a 2-0 lead in the series. Weibo now will have to reverse sweep to keep hopes of worlds alive.
Unbelievable turn around again. I thought Weibo might have done it this game. Alas for them, their hearts are broken. And in so... Raggedy Ann Poppy. That's not Lollipop. Is that new Lollipop Splash?
No. Yeah, it is actually. Yes, you're right.
Oh, no. I need the cursed one back.
Let's see how those gyros.
JDG just in the river here with a few members, seeing whether someone overstepped. Xiaohu ended up taking, I think it was a Winds of War, possibly a key from Azeri.
Does raise questions about, you know, if the Winds do actually have political power, if they can go to war. You know, well, what is the societal nature of Winds?
It's the Winds of War is only eating a lot of beans.
Oh god,
that's why it's a war. That is Cassius Belly right there.
Oh god, belly.
Very good, very good. Yeah. Gallia, the stone statue, doesn't have a proper digestive system, guys, no. And you can tell
they couldn't quite plumb that one in.
So, with that horrifying image in everyone's head, let's instead turn our eyes to this bot side matchup, because double hyperscalers with double engage supports.
Yeah, you can see that Light just trying to get some extra taps in here. Don't get that much wave control from this Smolder until you get level the 25 stacks, really, to get yourself the splash damage on the cube. Of course, don't have that early.
I thought you were going to say level 25, and I was like, wow, hang on.
Yeah. This is we're going like, yeah, you know, in RuneScape terms. You could get that in Earth. You could get unlimited levels in that. You can... Now, I can't remember the highest round I've seen on Arena, but there is Wisdom of Ages, which gives you uncapped levels and extra leveling. So you can get to, like, level 20 or whatever. Hang on a second, sure, it pays jumping forwards. And this is the problem with giving the Zeri over. You give up early game priority in the bot side, because the Smolder just can't... Look, you survive with the Rakan, but you do not get any sort of push.
Ooh, Xiaoxu ate a lot of damage there from the angriest pandas in the world. Pandas you think of as innocent, goofy bears. No, under it all, they are ruthless predators, as shown here by Yorick, the Pandamancer.
Oh, good double combo in there. Barrier and the heal blown early. And again, this early game with the Zeri, Alistair working well for them. JDG getting good control down here. The camera has been all down on this bot lane. Lights on Smolder. Can he scale his way into infinity in this game as well? Weibo, I do like their composition. You do have the Ryze heading towards the Yorick. The Smolder can even ult from long range if it comes to it as well. And if the Yorick gets a good lead, that's a big problem for JDG. I'm just worried about the nameplate on that AD carry. We've talked an awful lot about that. Weibo will have to pay off this draft, otherwise they will not be making Worlds for the 3rd time in a row. Weibo made it for the last 2 years, a Worlds Finals and a Semi-Finals. Could be knocked out of even qualifying in 2025.
Xiaoshu was 0-6 on Ambessa all time, and ain't looking like that's changing anytime soon. Does get a decent chunk onto Breathe, who did flash, ends up being a 1-for-1, but the plate goes over to Weibo.
No, well played by Xiaoshu. Just about makes it through without taking too much damage. Will be able to teleport back up. Loses, I guess he's losing about 4-5 minions, so it's not... It could have been worse, but it's still not fantastic. Dive on the other side now. Defensive teleport from Yorick.
The headbutt, the pulverized crisp just about survives the Dark and Daggers, but Pays will get a last auto and flash away Light, looking to get some damage back. And actually with Xiaohu coming on down, JDG needs to be a bit careful on the retreat here. Breathe TP'd in as well.
Light just sticking around. And the big thing about that is that Light just gets a ton of stacks. Now Light is closer towards that 25 stack margin, which is when you can start competing for a bit more wave control. Light will recall, get himself back up now. What looks to be the top side of the map. This is a good lane swap likely coming through from Weibo. Xiaoshu really needs to get this into turret before Light gets there. Was delayed for another, I'd say, 5 seconds or so. However, even with that, it's now going to be the majority of the wave missing. So Xiaoshu being able to force that wave into turret actually makes this much worse for Weibo, because Light gets none of that farm.
Frustrating there, and have got by Jack. It's not the revamped Lolly Puppy, it's Ragdoll Puppy.
I forgot that they had the 2 ones at that same aesthetic, really. Of the kind of, you know.
Well, one's a horror unknown to man, and the other is a Ragdoll.
Yeah, true. Truer words have been spoken, but not many more than that.
I don't know. I think that might be about as true as they get.
Sure, I can think of more things.
Yeah, I mean, okay, the one I can think of is Initialise is the greatest character of all time.
Oh, sure. You know, within a certain frame. From a certain point of view.
No. The point of view is like this universe. Like, it's a big frame, huh?
Yeah, but what about a galaxy very far away?
Well, that would be irrelevant, because then you have the pod racing commentators, and I'm not
That's true.
that.
Yeah, exactly. You know, what would you say if Ben Quadraneros... Ben Quadraneros appeared in your room in the dead of night? You know.
Realise I've been blessed and have been raptured. Indeed.
Yeah, exactly. I fear, Sam, that many people do not understand our devotion towards the art of pod racing. Root in the mid lane. This is a good triple gank here.
That would have been some pod racing there, but Scat will try spinning, and that's a pretty good trick. Some Dark and Daggers come on out to get some value there, and the big circle of doom leads to just a brief stun.
Before you do get the quickness in, it's not very fast and very dangerous. It's not quick enough to do that just yet. So the pod racing will be a little bit more tame. Dragon started now from JDG.
Dragon, indeed, is being taken down here as Pays, when he presses W, just throws a load of flowers at people. Like,
oh, because it's the Crystal Rose one.
Yeah. Be my Valentine in September.
Hayes, does he have... he needs to be really careful here, because he can't just slide over the wall, and that Galio has to come in.
Galio does indeed have to come in. Pays still standing up, firing, gets a kill, slides over. Elegant from Pays and JDG.
The Galio ult comes in, and Xiaohu, my dude, you are going into a 1v2, does have the phase rush and the passive, will get out safe. Pays didn't have flash, and I think that Breathe had a pretty good angle. Xiaoshu now under threat on top side.
Has no flash, got a public execution. The Dream gets knocked up, can't press the R until just now, and really leads to very little indeed. Light tanks a fair amount of the aggro. They're going to try and allow the aggro to reset to allow the kill. It does work, but Crisp goes down. Another kill in the 1v3.
Xiaoshu with the grasp of the Doran shield. The Omnivamp he now has at level 6 does get just enough to get another kill on the dive. Weibo are not playing out these early skirmishes particularly effectively. And JDG get themselves more gold than they were really deserving of in those plays. Xiaoshu getting 2 kills means that he's still even in gold to Breathe, who's been given a little bit more resources by his own team.
And the gold lead is largely even here. It's 100 gold, if that, between our teams. And we'll note, though, that in an arms race between AD carries, Hayes on the Zeri has 2-0, is 600 gold up. That should worry.
Yeah. He's also gone for the triple tonic on this area too, which I haven't seen before. Typically, you see the boots and the cosmic insight if you're going to get the inspiration runes, but he's using this for a little bit more early wave control. You do get the elixir of skill, of course, at level 9 as well, putting you a skill point, if not the stats, ahead of the rest of the map, which can be quite impactful actually. So Pays trying to scale up very quickly, even if he doesn't get those free boots in the same way.
See what build he goes well, because of course there's been some hex plate builds coming around here from Zeri of late as well, so we'll see whether he wants to go that's like more bruisery option.
It looks like he's going Yuntal probably into the... I think you need to go Yuntal into the Hurricane either way. Grub's now started, first one taken out very quickly. Weibo quickly taking these. If they get 3 Grubs for a Yorick, I think game's back on. If you can get Breathe into a side lane now, that Yorick will still be a massive threat.
Xiaoshu takes the opportunity to claim a couple plates. Shun needs to be a bit wary as a Realm Warp comes on in. Throws out an Overload, but no Essence Flux, so no option for a Rune Prison. It's like a rune go away. It's like a caution.
I was trying to think, like a rune caution or a rune house arrest. A rune restraining order.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know enough other legal terms to continue this line of things.
There'll be an arraignment at some point to put your case before the
a
court.
rune subpoena, which is actually your ultimate, bringing you to the court.
That's it. That's what it is. Oh my days, you're bringing evidence to the court.
Oh, it's the realm subpoena.
Can I get an ace detective rise?
God, they
Who
do
just comes in with a rune.
They do have the librarian one, which feels quite corporate, not corporate.
But I just want a realm weapon to say objection as he comes in. They're like legal documents flying.
Well, don't you need Onivia for Phoenix, right?
Oh, very true.
Oh, by the way, you know, I saw a disgusting new combo, and again, it's typically on Chinese TikTok. There is a new bot lane being played, Sam.
Oh, no.
Trundle Fiora.
What?
Fiora slides forwards, pillars the own Fiora to make sure that the riposte activates, and then using it to
use it to get stunned.
A riposte in a can. And Onivia can do the same thing with the wall if you do hit it onto your own allied target. So if Fiora just jumps forwards, presses W, you can get yourself a riposte in a can, which is disgustingly strong.
Funny. Oh dear. Okay, well. We'll keep our eyes out for that one. Maybe Bin's going to play bot lane. We are seeing these WE/Viper bots, like lane swaps.
The awesome dudes, as Papa Smith used to call them. Just the people which are not AD carries in the AD carry role. Who are they? We don't know, but they're awesome dudes.
Okay.
Instead of
I don't want to get too much into this because, you know, it's a conversation for a larger time. But I do think that AD carries players whining that they were forced to play more than one archetype of champion, whereas
it was one of the things that happened in League of Legends.
Yeah, and I just feel like actually some bot lane flexibility is not a bad thing. I want to be able to see Yasuo's and Rise's and Vladimir's bot lane.
Yeah, I have to say I'm a little sad that Mage's bot lane sort of died. We occasionally see the Ziggs, but I kind of miss, you know, seeing a Syndra, Zoe. Swain bot lane was kind of fun too. Seraphine was okay as well. They're not really around anymore, which I'm kind of surprised and fearless that we haven't seen more of it.
Like, where's Viper playing my Yasuo, you know?
True. You know, Shifter back in like Season 8 used to play Zed bot lane.
Yeah.
That was fun. That was fun. Okay, Dragon has spawned. We might see a fight over this. JDG took the first one. Weibo, they do have the 3 grubs. I think they would prefer to cross-map if they can, but they don't want to give up too many dragons early. Giving an early soul opportunity to JDG could be a killer.
Map is going to be soothed, so it's no longer cross. Just, you know, normal again.
Oh!
Yeah, I know.
I thought you were going to say the map is now noughts instead of crosses.
Well, it's come to naught so far, but Crisco's looking for grand entrance, and Shun will call the pack to avoid it. Dragon started. Light may need to flap out to safety on the other side. Ingo Scout with a flash. Shield of Durand. Light still free firing though, getting a lot of damage, but Pays returns the favor. Managed to make the lightning crash. Public execution. The hero's entrance requires Weibo to exit shortly, but the damage back is looking good. Light still untouched. Xiaohu managed to get a lot of AoE down. The Realm Warp forwards. Good damage back, and they will kill off at least another one. Get a couple back. Good knock up the door as Light goes to over the wall. Needs to survive. Pays still free firing. Breathe now in danger. It's a messy fight. Ends up being a 3-for-2 in favor of JDG.
JDG pull off the Galio Ambessa, and Pays gets space to start firing. Pays has 5 kills on the Zeri. 5 out of the 7 total for JDG. They gave him the Zeri. They knew this was a threat. And I just wonder whether that could send Weibo barreling out of World's contention. Weibo, they do fight for the Dragon. They could have cross-mapped with the 3 grubs, and instead they choose to go to the fight, fall into the waiting arms of Scout, getting a great taunt, and then the Ambessa makes themselves known. Xiaoshu gets into the middle of the play, delivers Galio for a big splitting ultimate, despite the knockup not landing.
It's spicy here, though.
It does, actually. It does. They do manage to get the bounce on that from Rise, from Xiaohu, but giving the extra rollover from Pays. Whoa, that was the big mistake. Great double combo. Could have gotten even worse, actually. Lucky the flap was off cooldown from Light to help him escape.
Hayes is a slightly awkward wall right there. Takes him over to Gromp rather than over towards the damage to get in range for it. Still, has to burn the flash. Does get that kill, but I wonder whether it was a world where he could have managed to pick up Light there as well if he'd gotten across the wall in slightly more elegant fashion. Either way, come back to life. Weibo with 3 grubs, a Rise, and a Yorick to take down first turret there.
Yeah, they have the 3 grubs, as you were saying. Makes it a lot easier. Xiaoshu will be given individual gold down here, though. Does manage to get that, well, that one last plate. Won't get the full 5 plates off the turret. We'll go over to 14 minutes now, so he'll time out. He'll get himself enough to take down the turret all the same. And JDG even on gold still.
Okay, he's now in danger as they collapse into mid lane.
Yeah.
They went through down the Ghost as well as trying to find some other Jor. Needs to speed up in there. Over they go, looking at Light with the Hound's pursuit. Mom is summoned. Should now in danger. Turret shot. And Light survives. Now the Rune Prison lands on the Jor. Public execution is glorious from Xiaoshu. And the Dragon is snatched out of the sky. Knock up on the Xiaoshu. But flashing out of the Dark Procession. Another 3-man shield. And Duran and Baze is still full autoing. So much ammunition in this machine gun. Continue to brap in the backline and breathe. Get smacked. JDG use all the ammunition available to them. Another taunt. Scout will die to the turret, but it will be at the cost of Tien falling to a heavy price paid in the mid lane from Weibo as JDG take over the game, will take the mid lane turret, and they'll get themselves well in control of this deciding game potentially for the series. JDG wanting to sweep this in a 3-0 Tien. Taps the ultimate, goes wide, airballs it, starts things off poorly. Hayes does jump into 4, tries to get enough down 3. He basically is wave clearing with his ultimate here, and it splits the team. Weibo's retreat is so disorderly. Shun does go too deep. I think he actually goes onto the wrong target. I wonder whether he should have gone onto Chris, but then again, Chris very mobile, perhaps not. This play is saved by Xiaoshu. Yeah.
If you do not get that clean kill onto Smolder, this game could be at a very, very different point. This Ambassador from Xiaoshu, as a whole, so crazy for JDG. And Scout, good game on the series. Galio from him too now, actually. Typically, we're saying, oh, he gets 1 good game of series. This has actually been a good series, all in all from him.
Again, Xiaoshu, currently 0-6 on Ambassador this split. Has not won a game. Might be in for the first win of the split, and it'll be a good one to get, sending them forwards to Worlds, potentially.
Given that Arlo was on JDG and doing quite well for them, actually. When Xiaoshu came in, I was like, okay, he's good, but it'll be a side grade. He has been so good for JDG. Xiaoshu, if you've not heard of Xiaoshu before, time to do your homework. This guy has been playing, you know, kind of like, I don't know, playing for small change, basically, on small teams, being a really good player. He was on Rare Atom, he was on a couple of these other teams, he was on RNG in one of their downswing eras, sadly for them. But he's been fantastic. We were wondering if he'd be one of these players that would be promising, but make it onto a top team and not really get that much done.
Yeah.
I'm happy to say that has not been the case. Players like Xiaoshu, Xiao Hao as well hanging around, and a bunch of these other players that you think they could be something special. Xiaoshu has got himself onto a top team in JDG, and he has actually proven his worth. So happy to see the results coming through for this guy. Could end up being what brings JDG through to a World Championship after a year away.
He's very scary. Again, Light still scaling relatively well here, has to be said. 150 stacks as well, on track to be hitting 225 at a good moment. He's picked up a couple kills of his own. He's not exactly completely out of reach here, and Smolder sometimes is a bit agnostic of gold leads. Good public execution there, invalidates the attempted CC.
Sorry, just playing some games in chat with Twitch chat. Some people who, over the course of this year, have spent almost a month in chat. Which, good to see you through here as well. Of course, we appreciate having each and every one of us, regulars and new people alike, to the channel too. Of course, when it comes around to regionals, a lot of people poke their heads in to wonder what's happening with the LPL, what teams are we sending towards them, what are their players and their stories. With JDG, they're a team which you know pretty well. Weibo, same. Both of these teams have been international mainstays from the LPL. This is an elimination game. Both of these teams had high hopes for this year. JDG, I think, maybe a little higher than Weibo, actually, because they brought in Shun and Scout. We thought, okay, this is special. Yes, they lost Kanavi. Yes, they lost Ruler, but surely they'll still be a top team. They've struggled towards this point, folks. They started the year poorly. Well, no, they did get top 3 in Winter. I suppose that was a little better for them.
They had to recover to get to that point, and then Summer was so weird, because they started with an awful start, and then recovered with a really long win streak. Went, oh, hang on, JDG may be kind of back on it, and people were like, oh, but they look so fraudulent. It's like, do they? I feel like everyone's looking a bit fraudulent right now, and then they had the very mediocre playoffs, I think it's fair to say.
Yeah, I think on the whole, it's every single team in the LPL has been up and down this year. There has been no consistent tyrant the way that there was in JDG 23, BLG 24. No team has been overlords. It has been a real scrappy mess. Dragon is alive, JDG looking for their third and threatening a soul later.
Wrong, 3 splits, 3 different winners, 3 different sets of finalists as well. Which is certainly something. Been a long time since the LPL has been this turbulent, really.
It used to be like that when we'd have 2-3 teams battling it out at the top. Then we had a couple of years of just utter domination from one team. Now we're back to the LPL brawl. And now in the regionals, we are there again. JDG Weibo, a famous matchup here in the LPL. This time at Death's Door for both teams. Dragon started, flashing in, there goes Nymaera.
Sure, finds the headbutt pulverizer. Bessa follows with a public execution. Mom is summoned. Realm Warp's coming on in. They've killed off the Neferi. TM flashes on out. And this is actually looking okay for Weibo. Decent disengage. Their health bars are low, but they can TP back in.
But I mean, they can't with Shun. Shun is dead. Shun can't do the same. You can teleport in with everyone else. But the smite being down means that JDG will have to abandon plans of going towards the Dragon. And Atakan is spawning in the next 5 seconds. That's a huge win for Weibo. They get the kill on the Smolder and they stop the smite coming through. Fumble from JDG. They don't get the carries locked down.
Light, notably, has kept both Flash and Barrier to make this happen. Dragon secured, denies Soul Point, and a Smolder team that denies Soul Point always feels happy.
JDG will be able to stop Weibo from getting the Atakan, but that extra time now allowed could be crucial. Room Prison onto Scouts.
A bit more. The Ultra Laser just tags Shao, who pays, threatening with the 2 items. Looking to get a bit of value here where he can.
Worth noting, Pays has gone for the Phantom Dancer, not the Hurricane. Did you mention that already?
No, I didn't.
Okay, cool. So that's in there. The thing about Zeri is that you want as much attack speed as possible because it gets you towards higher AD. Less AoE, but great single target. Pays wants the mobility to chase down as well. Atakan being flipped. JDG. Can they make this work?
Smell an Intercon. It's coming again. It's happened all the time here in the LPL, down to 3,000 HP. Weibo in place. Flash for the shield of Duranton. DN steals the Intercon! I just can't believe it happens again. The fight afterwards looking decent for a moment to a double for Pays. A public execution. Mom is summoned, but Pays says absolutely not. Triple kill to the Zeri in trade for the Atakan.
They lose the objective, but win the fight. 3 for none. JDG will summon the Herald and put it into the bot lane inner turret as well. Weibo, they get themselves a bit more scaling, I suppose, from the Atakan, a bit more value from the XP and everything. But I'm getting a little bit worried about these fights and how they are starting to give more and more gold over to the Zeri. Yes, the Smolder will do late game havoc on JDG, but I am worried about what happens when the Zeri starts to really get in range. 3rd item now for Pays, who's 2,500 gold in the advantage. An Infinity Edge, rather, built up there. The wrong icon popped up on the side. I think he bought, then reconsidered his options. Tien manages to get himself the steal somehow, some way. The Shield of Duran lands from Scout, but it's not a full channel. It's not the largest amount of CC ever, and Tien manages to go forwards, trade his life for the steal.
Problem is the fight afterwards still gets a bit messy. For Weibo, at least you got something there. In fairness to JDG, you see what the angle is. Just flash taunt, keep Tien out of it. It's about 100 HP on the Atakan off being a pretty good flip. But again, we are seeing that our teams are more than willing to flip it at Atacana. Unlike the Baron, where you can keep people out of it a lot more easy, it's just hard to do that with Atacana.
Light, 226 stacks. That's one more than he needs for that full evolution of the Smolder passive. However, Zeri does have that crazy item core. How much work can Light do on the Smolder? Feels like this is now going to be a battle of who gets the more clean fight in terms of the carries. Going under the turret, Smolder used to clear the wave.
Summoned, indeed, as wave clear options. You're taking the turret aggro, does a decent job. It's a decent knock away, but it doesn't matter that much right now. They've killed off the Alistair, but now Xiaoxu's got a little bit split off. Blown up Light, importantly, the Smolder is down.
Even with an awesome Poppy ult, Light dies in the combo. The Smolder has the stacks, but does not have the HP. JDG kill the AD carry. That is good sign for them that they can manage that. No summoners on Light for that fight. They'll have to manage it again, presumably, at this point when he has Flash and Barrier both available. 9-0-4 on the Zeri from Paze, though. Jesus, this guy's so fed. Look, we saw this from draft, folks. Paze got the Zeri. Weibo hovered over it. They said, we could have taken it away. I just wonder whether that was the big mistake, which could cost them this entire Game 3. And the Ambassador ult, disgusting. I'm actually not sure if that was hidden under a Zeri W, so we didn't see the Ambassador ult particle. I think that both the lines of them kind of lined up, because otherwise I would have expected him to sidestep. Maybe I'm seeing things wrong, but I think he might have just been confused by Zeri W there.
And Tian managed to get the knockaway on Paze, but Paze still got the lightning crash down before being knocked away mid-wall ride. As a result, still managed to tag onto Light for that extra bit of damage. Otherwise, maybe a barrier could have come onto it. Maybe we could have seen a bit more of a play. Either way, it is Weibo who end up losing their AD carry. Don't have Baron to work with yet. That'd be another 30-odd seconds as a consideration. The other thing to note is in the top right corner of your screen, where you will note a Mountain Dragon is spawning in roughly 40 seconds.
Thank you both for making my mornings the best this year. Well, thank you for being here as well. For anyone who has stopped in, whether it's for the first time or the doesn't, well, there's probably better words for that. We don't
doesn't.
You know, doesn't. Sure, cool. But you know, we don't stream this just for ourselves. We do because we enjoy it, but it wouldn't be possible without you here, being here to watch it. What is a cast without an audience? Shun will press W. Dragon spawning in 20 seconds. JDG perhaps giving us a little more entertainment here. 2.5 items for Light. Is that enough? Doesn't have the rapid fire cannon for the extra range. Important to note that 10 seconds on the Dragon now.
It is Smolder goes sneezing. 3 seconds on Dragon. Paze gets a big chunk on Tien. Zhou goes over the wall. Tien left low, but the redemption will keep him alive. Shun now a little bit split off, but gets to back away. He's died a couple times around these fights. Not found a good way to stay safe on the Neferi when going forwards.
Tien, does he have anything to farm to get some regen up? I don't think he does. Tien will have to play this fight from half HP. Has Flash, has ults. JDG will need to make sure they're not ejected at the worst time. Crisp doesn't have Flash, running the teleport, and this heals on cooldown, so he's not at max value either. Xiaoshu
gets stunned up with the steadfast present. Redemption coming on through keeps him alive, but my days, the Smolder damage.
Yeah, has the death stance side, but no, maybe not. It's just the burn from there going towards the flip.
Gonna be a flip again. 2,000 HP. This would be sole point if they can get it. No. Poppy secured. Flashed under the wall. Paze is dead. Wonderful angle from Tien. This time they die. And Smolder is still untouched. Flap, flap, flap. Growing up to be Smaug in this game. Tien going on forwards does eventually fall to the hero's entrance, but a realm warp forwards. A grand entrance knockup, and JDG capitulate at the Dragon fight.
Dragon taken by Weibo, and I wonder what they'll take next. Do that. Hang on a second. Ult miss from Xiaoshu. Very close there. Could have turned things around for a kill onto Xiaohu. I was wondering whether Weibo would go straight towards the Baron. It has spawned, and with 3 down on the other side, I wonder whether that could have been an option. Instead, they take the mid lane turret. The gold is getting quite scary now, and much like last game, we are now in a knife fight range, folks. The gold is close enough that Weibo can absolutely win fights. Paze made a huge mistake for his first death of the game as we watch this replay. Xiaoshu gets low HP, and this is a really good pick. Tien was half HP. I'm very surprised he made it to this. W stops the dash, wall stun very nearly kills Xiaoshu, but at least takes him out of the fight from being full HP. Paze, this is where the big mistake comes through. He jumps forwards into both carries. If you're playing backline dive, you dive into a single carry, not both, and Tien gets the E onto him, which is enough damage to finally finish things off. Big mistake from Paze, but Tien, awesome fight from him on the Poppy. Does die at the end here, but he does a lot of work there. Great job from the jungler of Weibo.
Really solid stuff, and credit to Light as well. Really good angle on the Smolder ult, calling him mom on the angle that Pace would need to run away to, so he catches him with it. Helps bring that stacks up again. It's still down 2,000 gold, but you are a Smolder. There are other ways to scale, not named gold, and at this point, you do damage. Even things like those Mountain Dragons beginning to stack up for people like this Yorick, this Poppy. Even this Rise to an extent, steel cap value increasing as well. Just these little bits and pieces making it harder to bring down the Smolder. He's got a rapid fire cannon, got the Infinity Edge. Yes, you've got that for Paze as well. But doesn't have that Lord Doms yet. Doesn't really have that much in the way of sustain. Scout off vision though. He's now going to spot it out by Crisp, who battle dances to safety.
JDG fumbled the last, well, fight and a half, really, haven't they? This is now within Smolder takeover range. Despite the gold disadvantage, Shun struggling there. Another Q onto him. Struggling on the Neferi this game, realistically. And tilted to the back line.
Oh, public execution gets him again. Chaoshu immediately exhausted. The Dark Procession. Smolder ult as well. And they blast Ambessa. Flash away from Light. He's still going. Wonderful team fighting. Chris with the battle dance forward helps keep Breathe alive. Flashing from Tien. Looking for the buckler. The bird comes on through. They kill another. Pace struggling to find value. Shahu flashing. Looking for the overload. Pace surviving. Gets the kill. The hero's entrance. Knock up only on one. It's a triple kill. Over to the side of the Smolder, who's picked up the Quadra. Say it with me. Pentakill!
The light at the end of the tunnel is a freight train which hits JDG for 6, 5 for 2 in the fight. Weibo have their comeback. They win the fight. They will get the Baron, and Weibo are back in this game. The Smolder had the 3 items, and JDG just couldn't close down the backline. They couldn't reach the Smolder quickly enough. And Light with the flash, with the flap, 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 puts JDG in the dirt. Right here, you can see that Xiaoshu is so close to making it onto the backline, but Xiaoshu and Light scatter. The carries split apart and they're not caught. The redemption helps bring things back up again. And you can see how hard it is once the Ambessa ult is down. When you're fighting a front to back, you are not going to be able to reach the backline a second time. Xiaoshu very nearly assassinates Pace, flashes over the taunt. This is 1Q, would have killed, made it an even cleaner fight. The Pace is still taken away from the main clump, and despite Pace being so proficient on the Zeri, he's blasted that.
Rapid fire.
And Light, at the death of this game, brings it back from the brink with a pentakill.
Suddenly you're back to Light. Big chunk of it through Paze though. Looking to free fire Lightning Crash, but Mom is summoned again. Oh my god, the damage from Light. He's got a GA. It doesn't matter if he dies. The bird's still coming. Calls the pack. Dies while he is in regen. Scout gets a decent chunk, but will surely fall. You killed the dragon, but you lose every single member to do it. St. George in the grave.
Weibo JDG, the matchup which always brings the entertainment, always goes and gives you a little more than you think it should. Weibo will not go quietly out of World's contention. The light burns strong, a bonfire out of a candle. Weibo will bring us to 4 games.
They had to justify the Smolder over the Zeri. We weren't sure about it. We saw Paze get the 5 kills early, and Light laps in our faces and leaves JDG as ash and dust in the wind. We go to game 4. Focus, using those globals and insane pick combos to get real value here, because I do fear for the 5v5s.
This game is going to be a scrap. The Gyos will ring out once more. JDG Weibo, it has been cinema.
Catching a ward right now. JDG will walk in. Doesn't lead to him.
The more I look at this, the more I like what Weibo have done, you know? I think that JDG, they're going to struggle to deal with barrels. Yes, the fire cannon of TF can deal with it quite well. Of course, we've got build water everywhere today. In this game.
With a double tap.
Yeah, but even then, he is quite low range. Can struggle sometimes. The double tap can kill it, but if you have to, you know, dash or delay your auto if you press W, the animation of it, sometimes the barrel will hit you anyway. If Breathe is good at this, then I think Weibo have themselves a huge winning ticket. A bunch of these different plays. Shun starting on enemy wolves, interestingly. He wasn't spotted either, so Shun, we said comfort for him might be very important too. The Neferi really struggled on it. Now walking behind the lane. Do they start with the Dazzle?
They did indeed, using that angle, but Crisp gets a mount up onto Pays and gets a decent chunk back. The PTA comes on down, and Light wins that one heal to ignore the passive from Pays, and Pays is left with a third of his HP bar missing.
Yeah, Light's not unhappy with that at all. Chris getting the shield out of his crash down early. Stun going to land onto the Rel, but that's why the shield's there.
Vigilance passive tracks it onto Crisp after as well. Again, you have got pots to work with. I'll note that Crisp has now gone through all of his, with Jaw still holding on to his pot and biscuit for now. Weibo having their jungler path down bot, but Shun again with the early invade here to try and mess with Tien.
Yeah, he started on the enemy walls, and Weibo didn't have any idea about this. JDG wanting to crush down on the MF. The MF is all about lane dominance, really. If she doesn't have a lead, the pick falls off really, really hard. We saw that from IG versus Top Esports just yesterday. Shun, level 3, has flash. Tien is walking down. I don't know if he'll be here in time.
Weird mix of win rates there. 2 and 6 right now on the Pantheon. A takeaway from TM, but the Dazzle comes down and kind of goes a little wide. The crash down is there. Cleanse away from the shield vault. Shun caught under the turret. Pays takes a lot of damage, but doesn't quite go down. They want to try and aggro this one. Overcomes the Vi. Has got a flash and a Q. Goes looking for it. Pays needs to flash in turn. Duo now in danger as the turret shots keep flying. Shun in danger as well, and everyone flashes but survives.
Tien very close to picking up a kill with a splash damage of the E. They'll be able to stop the recalls coming in very quickly. That's important. You know what? Tien might actually go for a cheeky Q in anyway. If he gets a QE, he can maybe kill. Doesn't want to go for it. Doesn't want to chance the stun of the Pantheon. And will instead take the largely delayed recalls. Weibo do manage to survive. Well, they get something out of that play, which I'm not sure they're expecting. Like, gets back to lane. Of course, lost so much CS in that play. JDG slower on the map.
Again, trading out on this other quadrant map, gets to stick around there. Tien, 3 and 1 on the Vi, has had a good showing on it so far. No games of the Gangplank as we were talking about. And the rest of the squad as well. Shara, who've been a long time since I've seen him on Akali. Certainly not this split.
Yeah, Akali occasionally comes out from them, but it's much more about the control mages. Way more about that. The Talirs, the Rise that we saw in that last game. Orianna, of course, a huge one for him over the last few years as well. This one is going to be very, very different. He needs to be safe. He needs to be someone that is hard to catch for the TF Pantheon jumping at him. I mean, Weibo, the way that they've played the map has typically been Breathe gets resources, Xiaohu is left to his own self-reliance, really. He does everything himself. That's why even when he was playing Yone, when everyone else was giving Yone side lane farm, he was like, no, I'm just going to use it to ult backwards in a side lane, so save creature forwards.
Crash down after, but the good shield comes on through. The Vigilance passive still working out very nicely there as the Starlight Touch value stun up prevents Pace getting the last autos he was looking for.
Crisp saves the life of Light, but the lane is going to pot very quickly. No summoners really benefits the extra mobility of the Lucian hit. You can jump over so much. JDG, we were wondering, you know, maybe the bot lane being delayed on their recalls and Shun being delayed gets Tien back into the game, but the bot lane scenario is a problem. MF does not do value if she's behind in the game. Needs a lead. Light dying so early, that's a problem.
Now into eating a nasty electrocute trade there as Xiaohu goes forwards. And again, a lot of this off. A very good dive in the end from JDG. Didn't lose anyone on it. Got a little bit dicey with the health bars, but they manage it well. And as you said, they're the ones that get the kill. They're the ones that deny the farm. They're the ones that are better without those mobility summoners. We're looking to see whether there was a trade onto Xiaohu, Scout rather, and saw Shun resetting on the turret as topside. Xiaohu gets a nice chunk onto this turret, actually.
Yeah, Xiaohu just ignoring a lot of this. Does end up eating the barrel there. Breathe blows up the barrel, gets the trial by fire, and that turret and the turret shot. Xiaohu will have to recall now, most likely, even with the biscuits and the door and shield, using the early matchup to make sure he can push in, get those turrets a little more wave control until the barrels get higher rank.
What is the name of the tether on
Bastion, isn't it?
Is it Bastion? Yeah, it is. I think it's Bastion is correct. You're right. And Bravado's the passive, which gives him all of that extra.
Bravado, Starlight's Touch is the heal, Bastion is that, and then you have the
Cosmic Radiance.
Cosmic Radiance is your ult. Yeah.
Good one, as opposed to Cosmic Binding, which would be Bard Key.
Yeah. Well, there's obviously Bard has Targonian connections too. Like, how did that just come from that? Tien doesn't have flash. Then again, neither does Shua or Pays. With no flashes down, things turn from kill into survival very, very quickly, and the other way around, of course, too.
Cancels the recall. Got a little bit of time before counter respawn, so could afford to just see whether something was up. Just hang out of vision there. You can see him skirting around. Should be. Oh, that's like the showing. I thought that was Tien for a second. Much more sensible.
They know that Xiaohu's on the roam. And they know that there might be a play. Xiaohu waiting for the break in the waves. Kind of like surfing, you know, for those of you who are surfers out there. You can like work your way through the waves, find a break in it to get out. They still don't see him. Tinker go on the wall.
Shattering Strike comes on down as he left. He's gone back to base. Oh no! That's a disaster. The cannon barrage keeps people down. The ignite is enough for Scout to get the kill.
Oh, Tien leaving a split second too early as JDG pull the trigger instead. Disaster for Weibo, who have been setting up for it and fall to the hands of the TF ultimate coming in. Scout gets himself his first kill with the ignite from the spellbook. This is something that, you know, Dopa/Apto did all the years ago, just saying, look, I'm gonna get myself level 6, ignite, I'm playing for slow lane and then getting that first play into the game. Even with the catalyst in, it has enough damage. Weibo, this bot lane has been put into the dirt. He's on 34 CS at 7 minutes. He's about half the farm he should be at.
That is tragic. You hate to see it. And a lot of this off the early plays from JDG. They get the successful dive. Weibo failed to get the response. And then another dive happens again. It's not really on Light or the individual play here. It is on JDG with early jungle pathing, putting Tien in a tricky spot. And Weibo not really having an answer here.
Weibo, they really needed this misfortune to be a rock, and it's just not been that. It's been reduced to gravel a little bit. Light and crisp. I think that TVT was okay. It's just more about that jungle pathing. Shun having a great game so far and opening up the bot lane play. Much better game from him than the last one on the Neferi where he did struggle a little bit. JDG, a lot of this year has been about, you know, Scout and Shun being comfortable at the right moments, and I think they've sadly taken turns in not being so, but if they do fix things for this regional qualifiers heading potentially towards Worlds, maybe we revisit a conversation about JDG. It has been a year-long conversation about has the Shun Scout roster worked out. Right at the start of the year, we were saying, this team can be valuable if Shun and Scout are on the same page. For a lot of this year, they weren't, and individually, they were struggling. This series, largely, they've been playing very well, despite the fact that Scout's summer has been very, very poor by his standards. Right here, though, Weibo falling to the hands of early gameplay from Shun. First ult of the game from Scout. Dragon now started. Weibo, I don't think they can contest.
No, I'm not sure they can either. Reminder, Shun is 2-6 on Pantheon this split. It's not exactly a comfortable champion, but hey, the early game play has been good so far. And it's necessary, as we said. Shun is such a litmus test for this team. Dragon being taken by JDG. They picked that one up. The Dazzle threaten onto Tien became a little bit too difficult to manage.
So JDG obviously in a strong position, have the first Dragon, 2 grubs out of the 3, and the early gold lead. What is the hope for them? They have a cannon barrage.
They're going to have the shield vault force crash down away. Light surviving the Dazzle. Awkward flash to get it to work though. Cosmic Radiance on top. Pays mistimes his culling. Doesn't get the right angle on it now. The cannon barrage.
Oh!
And the binding is there as the cease and desist. The perfect execution. Breathers come on down. Oh, we're going to have a parlay. He does get the assist with the cannon barrage, but it's Xiao who picks it up. Pays saw glory in his eyes and missed everything.
It was so close. I mean, he flashes forwards to get the Dazzle stunned. The culling just a little too early to know where the direction of the flash was going to come through from the MF, though. And the Bilgewater duo strikes hard with all the artillery in the bay. Breathe, his ultimate coming through for the first time, and Light getting himself a kill out of the fracas as well. Right here, you know, we see Duo caught out in the enemy jungle, and you think, okay, well, you know, they still have the level 6, but, you know, you're playing against the cannon barrage. This, I thought, was going to be genuinely a game-winning play.
Yeah.
Flashes forward to the stun, and then his ult just needed to wait a second. Wait until he's gone over the wall, and maybe he can catch those extra shots. Cannon barrage actually not that valuable from the Gangplank, in fairness, but does get himself known here at the end of it. Weibo walking away with 2 easy kills into the bot lane. An overplay from Pays and Draw.
It is. And again, we said Cosmic Radiance is great, assuming you time it right. Because if you time it wrong and you're all grouped up, or your invulnerability ends, and then you get hit by a Vial and a Misfortune ult.
That was almost... Oh, it just like... I'm just replaying that play in my head over and over. Pays, that could have been a game-winning play, legitimately. You win that play there, assassinate them. I think that's a game-winning play. It's so close to working out. Then he's there left alone. Scout wasn't really in the play either.
Shun's ult, where's Scout's ult? Like, you could potentially look to have a bit of support. Where there does sometimes feel like little bits of disconnect in JDG in the high tension moments.
Doomby was talking about this earlier in the year. One of the issues with JDG was, look, Pays has to be translated for. He's not confident in Mandarin to communicate in-game right now, so Scout has to translate for him. So in the very quick plays, where plays like this from Scout, or from Pays rather, you do wonder what the comms are like in the middle of that play. We don't always get access to them. JDG, still ahead in the game. Still 1,000 gold up at 12 minutes, and that's not bad for them. But MF has a call. It's not too far behind in terms of gold. Ahead slightly in terms of XP even. Weibo, they thought their MF was likely going to be out of the game. Now, they have a foothold.
Important, and again, we still quite like what Weibo's draft does, particularly if it comes to the 5-5s, and I like the scaling, but again, you have got Xiaoxu on his jacks. Potential side lane win condition. You've got the double global with the really nasty upfront burst. Here's this kind of potential dive. Xiaohu trying to dive away, but the gold card comes on through, and it's swiftly a red guard kicked from the field of battle. The cannon barrage comes on down, but it is just a 21 cannon salute.
Well, they make Akali into a pirate. They're an ex-Akali, and that marks the spot where they go and plunder their gold in the side lane.
They press the R button.
They press the R buttons, and the Carly goes down. First turret of the game for Jing Dong Gaming.
I'm going to leave the Bristolian accent aside. There is, for whatever reason, guys,
like, what do you mean a 1v3 in a side lane? Isn't that against the rules? It's more like a set of guidelines, really.
Yeah, it's really interesting because basically, for whatever reason, Hollywood has decided that pirates and nautical people must be from Bristol.
That's because there was one really big movie, I believe in the 30s, where there was a pirate, or like earlier, sometime in the 20th century, where there was one big film where there was a big Bristolian pirate accent.
Was it the Pirates of the Caribbean?
That was much later. Much later. I have to say though, it is a pretty good accent to have for pirates. The thing is that what you'll realize eventually is that pirates actually had accents from anywhere, because they were like, you had basically the privateers from Portugal, Spain, France, and all of Great Britain.
Treasure Island. You're probably right, Mabby. Actually,
that probably is it. Actually, yeah. Anyway, if you hadn't guessed our reference base for this game, it is now pirates. That will be so. Get ready for that.
Who cast just about anything.
It's a VeggieTales reference.
Yeah, it is. About Pirates Day.
20 seconds till the dragon.
Have you been to Boston in the fall, though?
I have, actually.
I think you have, so that song doesn't really work, does it?
Actually, it's kind of end of summer, but hey, whatever. Close enough. Okay, so 12 seconds until the dragon. JDG have the first one. Their ultimate's not available from mid-jungle to reassess the fight and reposition. Weibo might see that as a go button.
Into the banana bush they go. Mid lane line bush in control by JDG. Often been the standoff lines with no man's land in the middle. The 4-over affair. Tien and Crisp trying to clear out that warden do so.
That's their parlay, isn't it? Whatever it is. What's the thingy where they meet on neutral ground?
Parlay.
It is parlay. Yeah, that makes sense. Cool.
Just the fact that
you just got Davy Jones there and a bucket of water.
Why Gangplank having his Q be a gunshot as parlay says a lot about his ethics as a pirate.
That's true. Yeah. You actually look into Gangplank's lore. He is an awful person. He does Scrimshaw, which is like
on living people.
He carves into people's bones, which is as an art form, which is just. Oh, if you didn't play Ruined King as a game, by the way, you learn a lot about him as a character. Very good. Matt Mercer, of course, fantastic voice actor as well. Dragon has spawned. JDG onto it. Their ultimates are now back and available. They're delayed enough for that. Do Weibo commit to the fight? It's Gangplank alone on top side, using that trial by fire to take down the turret.
May just give it up, to be honest. That needed. Tien is around, can look for a steal, all the while Xiaoxu stepping on forward, might let the counter strike. Barrel comes on down. We'll need a potential cleanse as the Grandmasters might pop. Dragon on the field as well, looking pretty good. Speeding away from Breeze, who's in danger. Flashes out. In comes the redemption. Blows up the Pantheon. Bullet time. Finding the Cosmic Radiance on, but it might be too little too late. It's the cannon barrage after the cease and desist. This is the combo we were worried about. The double up follows in. The Shuriken flip. Light picks up a double. And Weibo unleash hell on the side of JDG. Xiaoxu gets a good grasp here. Will hop out of range of the turret. Barrel clears the wave, and Weibo get Dragon and the fight.
The B in Weibo stands for Bilgewater. And it comes from the Bay with love. Light gets the last auto to follow Pays. As they do come away with a bit of piracy. They steal a fight, which I thought was, honestly, JDG's. With the position in the game, Weibo cannot make the combo work. Pays is behind the game now as the Lucian, and Weibo are starting to set sail. starts off with JDG on the objective. You think, okay, you've got gold card locked up. You have the Cosmic Raiders. Surely, Targon best build Walter in this one. But I mean, just Akali jumps in but yes, you do have the bullet time stopped a bit of damage. But then after that, Cannon Barrage comes down. The 1v1 in topside does not stop Gangplank from using that global. And it was close in that 1v1 in topside. Because that doesn't work, Cannon Barrage comes through, tips things in Weibo's favor.
Oh boy, now this Misfortune has a lead. And yeah, you're printing some gold on the TF, but Akali getting kills like that. And again, I call it out, Shun has not been very successful on the Pantheon this split. You gotta Aegis Assault something there. You can't afford to get popped when you're a 4v2.
Now we reset and try and think about the implications of it. Dragon did go to JDG, so they do have closer towards the Mountain Soul. Not gonna lie though, just because Gangplank is in this game and is ahead farm and has 3 assists, starting to stack up the Silver Serpents as well, I think Weibo feel really happy. I think they really do. They've not attacked the Gangplank at all. Whenever Gangplank is in a game, I do ask the question, how many times is Gangplank going to die? And is it worth it putting that amount of resources into him as the rest of the map accelerates? Gangplank has not died once. You have a Breathe, K'Sante, not K'Sante, not Breathe K'Sante, I don't know why I said that, it's because Breathe plays so much of it. Breathe Gangplank, which is getting towards what looks to be a Collector second after the Triforce. Breathe is so happy. I don't think Xiaoshu will be able to cleanly 1v1 the Gangplank now.
Recall as well, Breathe being a fairly dominant Gangplank when it was more meta. I'd love to see his win rate. I suspect it would be pretty impressive. Scout in a 1v2 will get a gold card, but the other adage of League of Legends is attack the global. And Weibo find a nice dive, and Scout just doesn't get to do very much there.
Well, JDG could have attacked the global and Breathe. They chose not to. Can Weibo show him how it's done? Kill onto Xiao, who is 3-1 and 3 quite quietly on the Akali. I thought for a little while thinking, well, you know, he's been shut down. No, I mean, he assassinated Chun in that last play. Gets a great combo with Tien there. Was one of the progenitors, really, of the Vi mid-jungle combos back in 2022 MSI. Xiao, who absolutely knows how to play around that pace, jumping towards top side. Here are the globals. Grand Star 4 Redemption coming on in. Still got the orange, makes himself K. Second Redemption coming on down. Breathe surviving. Turret falls, but now Pay's in danger. Ruben does have the flash out of the dragon fight. A heal, and they go full tilt. A punch to the face from Vi. Shun will make sure that he has nowhere to go. Summons a Herald, but cannot escape as Xiao, who nearly brings down his Shu variety and can't bring down the Jax, but brings him low and forces the flash. JDG, they try and rent out a getaway car, but there's no driver left to take the wheel. Scout will head mid lane and take himself a turret here. 3-1 in terms of the turrets. Made 3-2 with the top lane going down for Weibo. JDG spent too long not attacking the Gangplank. Breathe is online, and with the Triforce HP and the levels he has, it is so much harder to get, and Pace misses his dash over the wall. His E is then down, he can't go towards topside. I think JDG are panicking, and I think they have to be panicking. Gotta start panicking. Do they have a planikin? That was really quite bad. They try and summon the getaway car. It's just too late. Shun goes down. And Weibo get a clean fight on top side, 2-for-1. Deny the Herald usage. Dragon now up in 30 seconds as Weibo look to put on the afterburner. Second item now in for Gangplank and Misfortune. And once you know it, they both get those Bilgewater blunderbusses. A bit more pistol-like, really. The collector on both of them. The crits, the lethality, the raw AD. Quite nice for the both of them. JDG, I think they have fallen behind too far in this game now. And Weibo, despite falling behind early, will mount themselves a comeback. Coming into the mid-game, coming out of the fog of war, flashing early. TF ult popped in response, but not able to do that much. The whole clump makes it hard for TF to find an angle.
As Breathe's most played champions, his Gangplank is by far the highest win rate. You don't count the Riven, not played that one in a few years. Now the Dragon getting started, Scout locking the gold card. Can JDG find the fight they need to get to Soul Point? Cannon Barrage forcing JDG to retreat.
They have the redemption. The big ultimate of Scout is down. Weibo still have most of theirs.
Trying to get the burst angle. They've got a barrel waiting. They want to time this one well. In goes Xiaoshu, trying to find the angle. Culling, crash down, Magnus Storm on top of everyone. Shun wins the smite fight, gets the soul point. Cosmic Radiance buys time, but it's well timed with the cease and desist. Perfect execution allows a double kill to come across to Breathe. Looking for the dazzle back, only delays a little bit of a reset. Light looking to continue step on forward, will have the ability to strut on in. Scout looking for the gold card, lands it onto Xiaohu, but can't find that much full follow. As Breathe goes to flash on forward, the trial by fire. Lucian goes down. Scout will surely follow, and they murder the team fight, even if they lose the dragon.
JDG engage in some piracy themselves, getting the dragon. But crime never pays. All 5 of them find themselves with a death sentence. Tien and Crisp, of course, felled on the side of Weibo as well. JDG do have soul point, but at what cost? Weibo have so much gold on the Pirates in AD carry and top lane. It starts off with a mech Cannon Barrage, which is now down at this point in the replay. The Cosmic Radiance isn't bad. It stops a lot of the bullet time coming through, and I thought, this is playable now. But then Xiaohu gets rolling, rather, and Xiaoshu gets rolled. Breathe, hits another barrel, damage onto the Pantheon. And it just feels like as soon as the Akali and the Gangplank start to get messy in these fights, JDG do not have the concerted firepower to bring a broadside back, to bring things back to even.
The Shuriken flip, they get the exhaust down, Xiaohu gets a bit of a heal, and suddenly Breathe gets to start siphoning through those trial by fires, and they pop a few more people, and even though they Cosmic Radiance the bullet time, it still takes 2 seconds to arm, and that's 4 waves of bullet time. It's half your HP bar gone before you get to use anything.
Gangplank is already scaled at 23 minutes into the game. Now, Atkan's being started. JDG will hope to look for objective steals and maybe the Mountain Soul later. That is what saves this game for them. Otherwise, we could be scraping silver once more. Weibo taking down the Atkan. JDG not close, could pop the TF ult. They do have the smite from Spellbook.
Barrels potentially as an angle chunk onto Jor, down to 3,000 HP. Shun can Grand Star fall in, look to get in, and steals another one! They fail another objective fight! 1 for 1 right now in the fight. Make that 2 as the Cannon Barrage comes on in Redemption. Xiaohu manages to execute another. The fights go the way of Weibo, even if the smite key from Shun keeps them in the game by their fingernails, and a D key.
Gives them the extra value. Can they get the barrels on target? If the slow lands, Pays will be going down with them. A kill onto the rail, but Lucian will fall. Weibo, they might be losing the smites, but they're certainly not losing the fights afterwards. JDG, yeah, a little bit better, but the actual piracy side of this equation, but Weibo will take the golden pocket.
Violence is theirs. Smite key a little knot. Tien's going to be frustrated with that one. That's a few in a row now. They could have stolen a dragon, taken a dragon, bend the Atkan, and this game would have been so much easier. They're still in a good position, but JDG have just got that narrow window to potentially stop this one here.
Xiaohu, there could be a Scout TF ult coming in straight after. Light could come in. This could be difficult.
Oh, now Scout's in danger. Doesn't get too much more. Nice angle. Does get the flash off Xiaohu.
I was actually quite worried that Xiaohu would follow that back in, and Scout might be down. A little bit of damage to deal with him. Teleport. Ult used. Xiaohu flash down is important. I mean, you did have the double smites coming through. There was... Yeah, I mean, so... No, smites got weird there. Not exactly sure exactly what the order of things was, but Tien smited very... Not Tien, sorry. Shun smited... hang on a second.
Takes a lot of damage on the Scout before it comes on through, and now he's going to come out of it and take a lot of damage. Breed's going to take him very low, does go down. That's the Gangplank out. That's pretty good value. Over the wall comes Xiaohu, and of course Pays. They get another. That's 2 for 1 right now. Dazzle onto Tien, into the shield vault. Flash over from Tien, who does manage to get away. Can't quite get him. Pays looking for the angle. He gets out alive too. Make that 3 for 1.
How did that happen? It happened during the replay. God damn it, this is why we don't have replays after resets from objectives. I know it feels good, but it's really important to tell what happened. So, recall came in through... That's an awesome Pantheon ult. That is an awesome Pantheon ult. Shun may have saved the game for Weibo. That is a Pantheon ult which might, much like the Bilgewater theme of this game, steal the game back for JDG. And Weibo, you best start believing in ghost stories. This one could start turning into one very quickly. And they'll be in one. Weibo take down Scout on the other side, but losing the Akali so early, losing the Gangplank so quickly after that, leaves them without a lot of the damage they've been winning the former fights with.
What is dead may never die, and they're managing to find their way back into this one. Shun not had the easiest time on Pantheon, as we're talking about. In general, this split right now at 5 and 4, feeling a lot more scary. You've still got to a point, you're still down 3,000 gold. You've still got the issue of the scaling of the team fight damage that can be spaced out. One ult can force you to use Cosmic Radiance. which then leaves the other 3 or 4 to threaten you, but it is still a potentially playable game objective-wise.
I assume that was a blind Pantheon ult. That could be a blind Pantheon ult, which saves the game and maybe the series for JDG. They're behind in terms of gold. Breathe can use his ultimate to check the Baron. Shun can be healed up by Drawn Awful. That's a lot of damage from the Baron, actually. The explosion onto all of them. Xiaoshu on the flank. Breathe will spot him out. Xiaoshu struggling to have that much impact on the Jax. Breathe has been the better top laner here in game 4. A classic for him on the gangplank, not seen in quite some time. Xiaoshu jumping forward to the counter-strike, claiming vision. Tien on a long flank, claiming some vision. Maybe actually looking to go towards the Twisted Fate in the mid lane. And you can try and shut down the source of the global. Baron is going down. JDG will claim themselves likely this big objective.
Destiny gates in. Breed looking for potential angle. They will surely pick up the Baron. Barrel chain comes on through. Cannon barrage. Bullet time! They murdered the Tarek, I forget the name, but they don't forget the damage. Breed goes down. Turn around by the back end of it. Xiao goes on in. Gets stunned up by the gold card. He's now in danger. Goes golden himself with the Zon. Xiaoshu got the counter strike rolling. A triple kill to Light. Can he look for more? Gets killed by Shun with the coming spear. And he brings down another. Flash from Scout. Grand Starfall. And the stars align for JDG.
That will buy them the Mountain Soul. JDG, this time last year, were denied a ticket to Worlds by Weibo in a massive series at the end of regionals. JDG do not want that to happen again. A victory here will see them playing against Invictus Gaming for the last slot at Worlds, which was the hurdle JDG failed at in 2024. Shun, the hero of JDG, struggled in the last game, but has saved JDG in game 4. On the Baron they went, using the TF ult to bring him here forwards as well. Initially we thought the Wombo was going to be obscene, but with everything coming through, they don't manage to get Pays or Scout, and they managed to rip Rocket through the back end of this fight, and the Tarek ult buys enough time to see Breathe dead as well. Breathe, a late flash. I really think he needed to get out earlier there to bring more value in. Breathe, when he's died early in the fight, has left Weibo without the damage they need to carry.
Xiao, who missed his shuriken flip, got stunned by Scout as he landed as well. Scout flashing then over the wall. Grand Starfall. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful stuff. And these team fights are not easy to play for the side of JDG, but they manage it twice in a row. And that's a lot of damage from Light. Good God, that Misfortune is trying.
Really trying, but JDG managed to get the damage onto the right people at the right time. And Breathe, we thought he might have scaled and could have just won the game by himself. Not to be. Has the Infinity Edge now, and maybe those barrels hurt a little bit more.
She got stunned under the turret there, but is safe enough with the counter-strike.
And I wonder now whether Breathe just instantly needs to go Serpent's Fang. I wonder if he needs to just go that right now. He doesn't have enough gold for it. That was the problem. JDG have the Mountain Salt. Could they have snatched the series victory off of a very difficult game?
By fire comes down. Xiaoshu will counter-strike it, trying to jump onto Shun, but again, the GA is making things tricky. And they are so tanky.
It's just, even with the Black Cleaver, with the scaling gangplank, Xiaoshu now is empowered to walk up. The base is broken, and JDG, against the team which knocked them out of World's contention last year, looking to trample over their corpse and make this series their own. One last date with Destiny, with Invictus Gaming beyond this.
Now they're the ones with the gold lead. They got the Atacon earlier, and I wonder whether Tien is going to be ruining those missed smites. They've been a very different game state from that. Baron, Atacon, Soul, all JDGs, adding on top of the gold lead they've managed to accrue. Again, it's not done. Look at the Pirates, look at the Bounty Hunters, the Bilgewater Potentates. Pretty damn deadly right now, all the same. A 5.4k Baron power play swings the gold in their favor, but you've still got to remember Light is not far off of Lord Dominic's regards. Breathe will be building towards more damage as yet. I need to see Xiaohu with something like a Void Staff. He's gone very upfront burst here with the
Lich Bane and the Rapid Fire Cannon.
I was thinking about Xiaohu with the...
sorry.
Yes.
Yeah.
Forgot the name of the item for a second there.
Yeah, no, I do understand that. Breathe needs to get a Serpent's Fang in to deny some of those shields, but it's just how much gold can you now get? Weibo, they're losing those smites earlier in the game. Shun, the smite keys, the ult to catch out Xiaohu in that huge bot bot jungle fight. The barrels aren't even getting through the shields now. The Mountain Soul, the Bastion from Draw. Weibo This game is falling through their fingers like sand through the hands. Tian has a GA. Breathe is going towards Lord Dominic's Regards or something like a Mortal Reminder later. I just don't know whether Weibo have the damage now. They're going to jump onto him.
That's not bad, actually. They got a GA to work with. Tien may end up dying and does so. Xiao to the backside. The Magnus Storm is good. The bullet time not bad after, but Xiao then jumps onto the backline. Good damage. They blow up Scout, but it's turned around well. They lose 3, and JDG stand and deliver. Too many Zombies, too many GAs, too much tankiness, and the mountain rises above Weibo. They had eyes, but could not see the top of Mount Tai. JDG ascend. They go forward to Weibo's year, and World Hope ends here. ASI alone will be their consolation prize.
JDG keep themselves in the game. We bid farewell to Weibo from Worlds. They will not